Chapter 1101. 12 Divine Lights _2. Like the divine kings, many true gods and divine venerables were equally delighted, feeling that they had gained significant rewards in the area where the divine venerables reside. Ever since Long Li entered the region with the strongest impact, her expression had remained unchanged. Even as more people were eliminated and she received more inheritances, her expression stayed unchanged. Yet nobody knew that right from the beginning, Long Li had already received the inheritance of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound faster than anyone else in the divine venerable area. The strongest batch of geniuses continued to receive opportunities from the second round of the competition. However, other slightly weaker geniuses were desperately trying to withstand the terrifying impact of the starry sky waterfall, having no chance to focus on the opportunities in the aurora flush. What a joke! They could only stay in the area with the weakest impact, hoping not to be eliminated. They dared not move to stronger zones in search of opportunities. Strength determines countless opportunities. These contestants, due to insufficient strength, lost many opportunities right from the start. Seeing strong contenders like Yi Chun and Long Li calmly staying in the area with the strongest impact, without showing any signs of pressure, numerous weaker contestants gritted their teeth. After the real competition started, they truly realized the gap between them and the geniuses renowned in countless divine kingdoms across the universe. The Stellar Domain Genius Battle's cosmic finale helped them recognize their own strength and talent, not hoping to gain the benefits hidden in the competition by the ancestral god temple. Making it through this second round is all I wish for. In this second round of competition, 900,000 per realm will be eliminated. Currently, in the True God region, over 700,000 have been eliminated. I just need to hold on a bit longer, and I might pass this second round. A True God unleashed all their defensive power, desperately withstanding the terrifying impact of the starry sky waterfall. But in the next moment, after another wave of intense impact came, that True God could no longer hold on and was directly swept away by a massive force. The 759,400th eliminated True God. Eliminated. Countless people gritted their teeth to hold on. Only the strong could persist to the end. As time passed, more True Gods, divine kings, and divine venerables were all swept out and eliminated. When the dreadful aurora flush of the starry sky waterfall reached hundreds of waves in a single breath, finally, the number of eliminations this second round required was reached. In the True God area, 900,332 have been eliminated. The Divine King and Divine Venerable areas have exactly 90,000 eliminated. All those eliminated had completely left the competition platform of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. Only those who could continue to participate in the next round remained on the giant platform beneath the starry sky waterfall. After the competition ended, the dreadful impact of the starry sky waterfall finally disappeared, and it once again cascaded from several hundred feet high, no longer rushing downward. The remaining contestants on the platform, many of whom were already exhausted, finally exhaled a long sigh of relief after the dreadful impact vanished. Just as these people were waiting for Emperor Liao to announce their entry into the third round of the competition, an unexpected event occurred. Bang! Suddenly, these people saw someone on the platform begin to emit radiant streaks of divine light. After the first person emitted divine light, subsequently, bang, 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 more people began to emit divine light. These divine lights appeared in brilliant blue, dazzling to the extreme. These are the ones who gained opportunities in the second round of the competition. Contestants outside the platform realized that those who were emitting divine light were indeed the powerful geniuses who had been in the area of strongest impact of the starry sky waterfall. Why do the quantities of divine light emitted from many people differ? Upon seeing the radiant streaks of divine light emitted by the powerful geniuses, someone quickly noticed the differences in the divine light. Not only those outside the platform noticed something amiss, but even the powerful geniuses themselves, who had divine light shining from their bodies, noticed the anomaly. I have 15 strands of divine light on me. I received the inheritance of 15 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound earlier. Could these 15 strands of divine light signify the number of inheritances I received? Someone speculated directly. At the same time, more people communicated telepathically to verify their speculations with those nearby. In the God King area, Moko Yi looked at the 33 strands of divine light emitting from his body, initially delighted, but when he saw Yi Chun with as many as 36 strands of divine light, Moko Ye's expression changed. Moko Yi had learned through telepathic communication with others from the Mok divine country that these divine lights represented the number of Great Sun Pitha divine sound inheritances obtained. He initially thought that the 33 volumes he acquired were the most. However, Moko Yi didn't expect Yi Chun to have obtained even more inherited scrolls than he did. What amazed Moko Yi even more was that not only did Yi Chun surpass him, but there were also 3 others in the arena who exceeded him. Among these 3, there were even 2 whom Moko Yi didn't recognize at all. Evidently, those 2 had been hiding their strength, and it was this eruption of divine light that exposed their true talents and capabilities. While Moko Yi was in shock, countless others also watched the spreading divine light with astonishment. Even more surprising events were yet to come. After the divine lights surged around these individuals, unexpectedly, some of these divine lights began to change color. They changed directly from blue to red. Among the 33 strands of divine light on Moko Yi, directly 5 strands turned red. I just completed cultivation of the first 5 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. Does this red light signify my completion level of cultivation? Moko Yi hurriedly sought verification of this new conjecture with Mok Wang and others. When Mok Wang mentioned he had completed the first 3 volumes of cultivation, with 3 strands of divine light turning red on his body, coupled with explanations from others, it directly informed Moko Yi that the red light indeed represented the extent of completion of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound cultivation. Having understood the meaning of the red divine light, Moko Yi quickly glanced at Yi Chun. He wanted to see to what extent Yi Chun, who had received more inherited scrolls than he did, had cultivated the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, and if he surpassed him. This look made Moko Ye's eyes widen. Moko Yi saw that among the 36 strands of divine light on Yi Chun, 12 strands had turned red. Could it be that in such a short time, Yi Chun has completed cultivation of the first 12 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound? Moko Yi found it completely unbelievable. Chapter 1102 Leap God Gate. Moko Yi just finished cultivating the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, aware of its difficulty. Given his exceptional comprehension as the top genius in the God King realm of the Mok ancient clan, he was able to complete the first 5 volumes in such a short time. He himself felt his affinity with this mysterious cultivation technique was extraordinarily strong. Originally, Moko Yi had asked other participants of the Mok ancient clan and learned they hadn't completed the 5th volume yet, which made him feel proud. But now, seeing Yi Chun with 12 divine lights all turning red, actually completing the first 12 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, how could Moko Yi not widen his eyes in disbelief? Yi Chun had completed more than twice the number of volumes than he did. Before participating in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle across the whole universe, ranked first on the Star Domain God King list, Moko Yi completely underestimated Yi Chun. But now, after just 2 rounds of competition, Moko Yi felt that he was entirely behind Yi Chun. Not only in the first round countless vines, he couldn't match Yi Chun's speed at all. Now, in this second round Aurora Flush, he couldn't match Yi Chun's comprehension either. If I fall behind Yi Chun again in the real battles later, then my combat power can't match his, which essentially means that I'm suppressed by Yi Chun in all aspects. As the top heaven's chosen God King of the Mok ancient clan, Moko Yi completely refused to accept this result. Fortunately, there's still a chance later. I must surpass Yi Chun in other aspects. I'm the first on the Star Domain God King list. I absolutely cannot let him suppress me like this. Moko Yi looked at Yi Chun, tightly clenching his fist. After taking a deep look at Yi Chun, Moko Ye's gaze shifted to the other divine kings, especially looking at the 3 divine kings who received more volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound than him. Among these 3, Moko Yi recognized one, but he had never heard of the other 2 before. The one he recognized was Chanxian, who had made a splash on the preparatory platform earlier by defeating Yuming Shifeng. Although Moko Yi arrived in the last batch, he had heard of Chanxian from contestants friendly with the Moke Divine Country. Especially knowing Chanxian could crush Yuming Shifeng with one move, Moko Yi understood Chanxian's strength. Originally, in the first round of competition, not seeing Chanxian climb ahead of him made Moko Yi underestimate Chanxian a bit. But now, this second round's display of divine light directly made Moko Yi recognize Chanxian's terrifying talent. Chanxian surprisingly had 35 divine lights emerge, just one less than Yi Chun, but two more than Moko Yi, who received 33 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound. Moreover, in the change of divine light's color, Chanxian also had 12 divine lights turn red. This directly means that even if Chanxian received one less cultivation technique than Yi Chun, in cultivation progress, she achieved the same frightening result as Yi Chun in completing the first 12 volumes. In terms of both the number of cultivation techniques received and the level of completion, Chanxian totally overwhelmed Moko Yi. It's not just Chanxian. The other two divine kings Moko Yi didn't recognize, one male and one female, also performed remarkably. These two divine kings, like Chanxian, each received 35 volumes of cultivation techniques, exceeding Moko Yi by 2 volumes. Meanwhile, one of them completed 8 volumes of cultivation techniques, and the other completed 7, both exceeding Moko Yi in cultivation progress. Adding Yi Chun and Chanxian, it equals 4 people in the second round, completely overwhelming Moko Yi, hence why Moko Yi felt terrified for quite a while. Moko Yi never expected that so many divine kings would emerge that could surpass him. It's not just Yi Chun, Chanxian, but also that male and female divine king both surpassed me. There are also several people who received the same 33 volumes of cultivation techniques as I did. Yi Chen's divine lady Jiang Yao also received 33 volumes of cultivation techniques. More terrifying is that she, like Yi Chun and Chanxian, also completed the first 12 volumes. This means that Jiang Yao outperformed me in the reception of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound and similarly surpassed me in cultivation efficiency. The more he compared, the more Moko Yi felt the immense pressure upon him. This time he came aiming for first place in the Star Domain Genius Battle God King Warfare, yet only in the second round, so many people have surpassed him, naturally making him feel uncertain. The most crucial contest in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle is still combat power. Even if I'm not as fast or have less comprehension than Yi Chun and these few people, in true combat power, I will absolutely overwhelm them all. Finally, Moko Yi secretly told himself. Moko Yi, who hails from the number 1 divine kingdom in this universe, has absolute confidence in his combat power. While Moko Yi's mind and spirit were surging, contestants who passed the second round of the True God, God King, and Divine Venerable areas were likewise observing the surrounding powerhouses, observing who received the most cultivation techniques and whose cultivation progress was fastest. In the True God area, this time what surprised countless True Gods was an unknown True God. This True God hadn't even appeared on the Star Domain True God ranking list. Yet his result was far ahead of others. A young boy astonishingly received 36 volumes of cultivation techniques just like Yi Chun, and completed 11 of them. Evidently, this result absolutely crushed other True Gods. In an instant, all the participating True Gods noticed this previously unknown True God, and many even started inquiring about him from other contestants of the Divine Kingdom he came from. In the Divine Venerable area, a major surprise occurred. Long Li, who crushed all Divine Venerables from the first round, once again dominated everyone in the second round. Long Li's results were exactly the same as Yi Chen's. It reached a level that astonished countless people. These results, of course, shocked countless people. Even among the spaces where the great power holders of the Ancestral God Temple were present, the Divine Masters, and Cosmic Emperors widened their eyes at the divine light spectacle following the second round. The focus of these great power holders was particularly on Yi Chun, Long Li, and that divine True God. One should know that many divine masters who had previously practiced the Great Sun Pitha divine sound claimed that fully receiving all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound was nearly impossible, and progressing past the 10th volume using this cultivation technique was even harder for the young talents participating in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. However, now 3 contestants who received all 36 volumes of the cultivation technique appeared on the field, with several having progressed beyond the 10th volume, which unsurprisingly astonished these great power holders from the ancestral god temple. Even the Cosmic Emperor, who previously said, "Maybe some will have extraordinary performances," took a deep breath upon seeing so many astonishing participants. The Cosmic Emperor sighed, "Indeed, this Stellar Domain Genius Battle is extraordinary. With Yuan Wu's attention, our ancestral god temple attaches great importance to this rare opportunity where extraordinary talents are finally emerging. This is the situation that should arise in the grand cosmic showdown of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle." This Cosmic Emperor was even looking forward to the upcoming matches. Wow! 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 In the second round, across numerous areas of countless divine kingdoms, many citizens watching the battle could not comprehend the meaning of the divine light emitted from the contestants. However, they clearly saw who was eliminated and who passed the second round. Additionally, from the expressions of other participants, they knew that those talented individuals exhibiting divine light on their bodies were more formidable talents. For a time, countless regions and territories in numerous divine kingdoms were bustling with excitement. Countless people were discussing the most extraordinary individuals in the first 2 rounds and talking about the dazzling divine light on these shocking talents. The second round of the competition has also concluded. Initially seeing the divine light on his own body, Yi Chun frowned slightly. However, he soon relaxed. Having come to the grand cosmic showdown of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, he should showcase his best to compete for himself and for the divine kingdom. This divine light display wasn't problematic after all. Relaxed, Yi Chun first looked towards Zhang Yao and Long Li. Seeing the 33 divine lights on Zhang Yao's body and the 12 red lights that turned red, Yi Chun smiled and nodded at Zhang Yao. After Zhang Yao returned from the Zishuan Treasure Palace, she and Yi Chun trained together at the original Spirit Source Star. So Yi Chun was well aware of Zhang Yao's strength. Seeing Long Li's performance, Yi Chun also exchanged smiles with Long Li. Next, Yi Chun looked at the other participants of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom. Many people had already been eliminated in the first and second rounds. However, the little provincial princess Fang Luo, whom Yi Chun was familiar with, and Mo Xiaohan, who he just recently met and represented Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom's strongest true god in the Grand Cosmic Showdown, were still present. Mo Xiaohan even displayed remarkable performances in the first 2 rounds, drawing a lot of attention. In the first round, more than 40,000 divine kingdoms had over 4 million participants from each realm competing, and eventually, only 1 million from each realm made it to the second round. In the second round, 100,000 were eliminated from each realm, and only around 90 to 100,000 made it to the third round. I wonder what the third round will entail and how many will be eliminated again. Turning his gaze through the crowd, Yi Chun looked at Emperor Liao, who was presiding over the grand cosmic showdown of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, pondering in his mind. When Yi Chun looked at Emperor Liao, the Cosmic Emperor sensed Yi Chun's gaze and looked toward Yi Chun, even smiling and nodding at him. It was clear that Yi Chun's extraordinary performance in the first 2 rounds had left a mark on this pinnacle-level Cosmic Emperor, Emperor Liao. Emperor Liao seemed to have guessed what Yi Chun was thinking. His gaze once again shifted to the remaining contestants on the field. At the same time, Emperor Liao finally announced the matters of the third round of the competition. The third competition round is also the final round of the regular rounds. After this round, the remaining participants will proceed to the final grand competition. The third round is named Leap God Gate. Chapter 1103, Impact, Starry Sky Waterfall.
Leap God Gate.
As soon as these 3 words were spoken, the entire audience fell silent. All participants could discern the peculiarity in Emperor Liao's words as he spoke these 3 words. In ordinary worlds, fish leaping over the dragon gate symbolizes great transformation and advancement. Now, the third round of competition is named Leap God Gate. leading participants to speculate that this match likely involves great transformation and advancement as well. And it's a universe-level transformation and advancement. Many people's gazes even directly shifted toward the place where the starry sky waterfall plummets and vanishes hundreds of meters above, wondering if the so-called Leap God Gate is related to the point where the starry sky waterfall falls. Seeing many people looking toward the starry sky waterfall, Emperor Liao nodded in the void. He then said, "I suspect many have already guessed it. Indeed, the third round of competition is related to the point where the starry sky waterfall falls. The first round of competition, countless vines, everyone climbed, only to absorb the star vine divine light drifting down from the starry sky waterfall. The second round of competition, aurora flush, everyone resisted, was to comprehend the great sun pitha divine sound from the descent momentum of the starry sky waterfall. The third round of competition, of course, offers even greater benefits. This time you will directly impact the truly falling spot of the starry sky waterfall from this platform, and once you've leaped out of the dreadful suction whirlpool at that falling point, you will directly enter the actual starry sky waterfall. The starry sky waterfall is one of the great secret lands of our ancestral god temple, with countless benefits inside. All who enter the starry sky waterfall can gain earth-shaking benefits from it. Of course, the benefits are bestowed upon you during the competition. The key lies in the competition itself. In the third round, only 10,000 from each of the true God, Divine King, Divine Lord realms who leap out of the terrifying suction whirlpool where the starry sky waterfall falls, entering the starry sky waterfall are considered passing. Meaning, among all of you here, at most only 30,000 can pass this third round of Leap God Gate to enter the more advanced competitions in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. If among you, in any realm, fewer than 10,000 manage to leap into the starry sky waterfall, failing to leap over the God Gate, then those entering further competitions will be further reduced. Whether you can enter the final ultimate competition in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Universal Grand Showdown depends on whether you can pass this third round of regular competition. The third round of competition lasts for 3 days. How long you can stay inside the starry sky waterfall depends on how long you spend leaping over the God Gate, passing through the suction whirlpool at the waterfall's fall, entering within the starry sky waterfall. After Emperor Liao's words fell, countless hearts trembled. The third round of competition, Leap God Gate, indeed requires charging and leaping into the starry sky waterfall. The starry sky waterfall is so vast. Upon arriving at this competition site, everyone hoped to enter the starry sky waterfall and experience it. But unfortunately, the starry sky waterfall was sealed by the ancestral god temple, and participants could not enter at all. Now, there's finally a real opportunity to enter the starry sky waterfall and make contact with it. True God, Divine King, Divine Lord, each with a quota of 10,000. Upon passing this Leap God Gate barrier, it also means entering the last round of the Universal Grand Showdown in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. That's when the true battle begins. Thinking of this, countless hearts were filled with excitement. Yichun was also overwhelmed with emotion. Back then, the Northern Territory King and Sovereign Shuechen made 3 demands of him, and the third was to break into the last round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. He has long had the strength to reach this third demand. Now the moment to fulfill this demand has finally arrived. As long as he passes this Leap God Gate barrier, he can complete all 3 demands made by the 2 sovereigns. What remains is his own effort, striving for the best rank in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. Furthermore, Leap God Gate, this barrier, is not only to complete the demands of the 2 sovereigns, not only to enter a higher rank. The starry sky waterfall itself is infinitely important to Yichun. Yichun has already comprehended the space star aperture of the starry sky waterfall, sensing the divine marvel of this place, even forming the origin star aperture within his body from the starry sky waterfall. If he can truly enter into the starry sky waterfall, he would undoubtedly gain incredibly astonishing benefits, just as Emperor Liao said. Yichun is even anticipating encountering some benefit inside the starry sky waterfall. Yichun imagines soaring within the starry sky waterfall. Many participants, however, felt both excited and a bit worried. The third round of competition has arrived. Each realm has only 10,000 qualifying spots left. Know that originally each realm had over 4 million contestants, and the previous 2 rounds already eliminated the vast majority. Among over 40,000 divine kingdoms, many have seen all their contestants perish. Making it through the third round and entering the last round signifies a great achievement. Many medium-sized divine kingdoms have been unable to have even a single entrant reach the last round in the Universal Grand Showdown of Stellar Domain Genius battles over successive competitions. To break into the final round of the Universal Grand Showdown in the Stellar Domain Genius battle also signifies high honor. This, of course, makes every one of the roughly 100,000 people remaining in each realm on the field eager to obtain this honor. Charge! Advance into the top 10,000 in the Universal Battle of the God Kings, Battle of the True Gods, Battle of the Divine Venerables. Truly enter the Starry Sky Waterfall. The True Gods, God Kings, and Divine Venerables in the field were all stirring their mind and spirit, getting themselves into the best state to face this critical test. In the space above the Starry Sky Waterfall, the Divine Kingdom lords and sovereigns who brought the contestants to compete, many of them were also standing up nervously. The third round of the competition is also a crucial moment for these Divine Kingdom lords and sovereigns to determine the results of the Divine Kingdoms. Not only the Divine Kingdom lords and sovereigns are extremely nervous. The countless people from innumerable regions watching the Stellar Domain Genius Battles Universal Final, seeing on the void heaven light curtain that there were still participants from their divine kingdoms in the contest, were also extremely nervous. They also yearned to see significant progress from the contestants of their divine kingdoms. Just when countless people were excited and nervous beyond measure, Emperor Liao finally announced, "The third round of competition begins officially. Leap God Gate. Pass through the gravitational vortex at the fall of the Starry Sky Waterfall and enter within. 3 days' time. Begin the charge now." Boom! At the moment Emperor Liao's words fell, all the true gods, God Kings, and divine venerables on the field flew toward the fall of the Starry Sky Waterfall above. In the next moment, countless figures were engulfed in the area of the Starry Sky Waterfall fall. Boom! 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 At the fall of the Starry Sky Waterfall, the endless torrent surged, then inexplicably vanished. This was a land of wonders. When Yichun truly flew into this land of wonders, Yichun discovered that he couldn't sense a single person around him. This land of wonders had baffling space laws within it. Evidently, all participants would enter a designated space and face the third round's test independently. Yichun did not know what situations the other God Kings or true gods, divine venerables were facing, but what Yichun sensed was that in this land of wonders at the fall of the Starry Sky Waterfall, it was like a boiling ocean, with vortices swirling wildly in every part of the ocean, and inside the vortices, a terrifying suction emerged, trying to pull him directly into the vortex. Feeling the dreadful suction, Yichun's expression did not change in the slightest. He gently waved his sleeve, and boundless divine light soared to the sky, enveloping Yichun entirely in the most dazzling divine light. The ocean-like endless vortices below, with their terrifying suction, had no effect whatsoever in front of Yichun. Yichun didn't even move an inch.
Leap Gugotte.
Only by leaping over this boundary can one truly enter the Starry Sky Waterfall. But where to leap? He could thoroughly escape the horrible suction of the vortices, but the issue before Yichun was still breaking the bewildering array of this space and truly finding the exit to charge into the Starry Sky Waterfall, which was the key. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Yichun's figure moved in an instant, and within his divine eyes, endless divine light surged, filled with the eternal God body's 5 great divine patterns attack methods. Yichun directly used these attack methods to strike every location of this space. In just a moment, Yichun sensed the formation eye of this space. The next moment, the divine light in Yichun's divine eyes suddenly blossomed, and with a boom, that space's formation eye shattered directly. The spatial illusion disappeared, and Yichun immediately saw the true Starry Sky Waterfall appearing above his head. When the space was shattered, revealing the true form of the Starry Sky Waterfall's gravitational pull, the powerful suction at the disappearing water flow below became even stronger. However, considering who Yi-chun was, this was merely the third round of competition. How could it stop Yi-chun? Boom! Yi-chun's whole being suddenly burst forth with divine light, and like a carp leaping over a dragon gate, he flew up toward the starry sky waterfall above, rising against the current. Endless impact. No matter how tremendous the impact was, it simply couldn't push Yi-chun down. Yi-chun's whole being, like a bolt of lightning, crashed through layer after layer of increasingly terrifying resistance. After charging for a few dozen breaths, Yi-chun felt his whole body lighten, as both the upward impact and downward suction disappeared, and Yi-chun felt he had entered an incredibly cool and comfortable environment. Starry Sky Waterfall. Yi-chun had truly entered the Starry Sky Waterfall. What he saw before him, Yi-chun found himself within a crystalline world of water flow, and that crystalline water flow glided slowly past him. More mysteriously, Yi-chun could see that in the distance, there were enormous stars, which, within the Starry Sky Waterfall, emanated tremendously mysterious rays, penetrating through endless distances, entering within him. Yi-chun could even see, within the Starry Sky Waterfall, doors of the Divine Gate were closed, unaware of what lay behind those doors. Chapter 1104. The Great Struggle. Yi-chun freed himself from the whirlpool of suction at the place where the Starry Sky Waterfall fell, successfully completing the Leap God Gate, and charged into the Starry Sky Waterfall. At the moment he rushed into the Starry Sky Waterfall, countless divine kingdoms and regions were shaken by it. Someone has already entered the Starry Sky Waterfall. Heavens, so fast! Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation? Which divine kingdom is that? I've never heard of it. The first God King to enter the Starry Sky Waterfall is surprisingly not Moko Yi, the number 1 on the Star Domain God King ranking, but this God King called Yi-chun. Heavens, look, in the Divine Venerable List region on the Void Light Curtain, the moment Yi-chun entered the Starry Sky Waterfall, there were also 3 Divine Venerables entering, with one of them also being from Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. It's actually a female Divine Venerable named Long Li. Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation performed so well. Could it be an upper divine kingdom? But I've never heard this name from any famous divine kingdom. This third round of the Leap God Gate is obviously unusual. The entire cosmic projection of the Ancestral God Temple this time directly marked everyone who successfully completed the Leap God Gate on the Void Heaven Light Curtain, listing them separately in the True God, God King, and Divine Venerable regions. This represents the Ancestral God Temple's emphasis on this third round of competition because after this round, the 10,000 successful participants in each realm will break into the final round of the Star Domain Genius Battle Universal Finals, becoming the truly competitive participants. These successful participants deserve the attention of countless divine kingdoms across the universe. This kind of cosmic projection by the Ancestral God Temple, directly displaying the most outstanding individuals one by one, caused a stir in countless divine kingdoms and regions. Especially the divine kingdom labels behind the names of these geniuses who first rushed into the Starry Sky Waterfall attracted the attention and discussion of countless divine kingdom citizens. Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, an ordinary medium divine kingdom in this universe. But because Yi-chun and Long Li were the first to enter the Starry Sky Waterfall as a God King and a Divine Venerable, both from Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, they directly made Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation's fame shake the entire universe. This situation drove countless citizens watching in Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation into a frenzy of excitement. Meanwhile, in the area where all the divine nations and sovereigns were stationed during the Starry Sky Waterfall, many divine nation leaders enviously looked towards the leader of Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. These divine nation leaders realized that Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation had indeed produced 2 incredible figures this time, Yi-chun and Long Li. These 2 figures are likely to win unimaginable honors for Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation in the Star Domain Genius Battle Universal Finals. At this moment, Sovereign Yen Tian, the leader of Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, couldn't close his mouth from smiling. Sovereign Yen Tian knew well of Yi-chun and Long Li's prowess, but truly seeing Yi-chun and Long Li bring honor to Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation before countless divine kingdoms across the universe was indeed a real achievement for Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, and his excitement was understandable. among countless leaders and sovereigns. When Snow Sovereign Shuechen and Northern Territory King saw Yi Chun and Long Li almost simultaneously leap into the starry sky waterfall, they exchanged a glance and smiled. Yi Chun finally fulfilled the 3 requests we made back then, and all with the best scores. He was the first in the entrance assessment for the 9 great divine institutes. He achieved unimaginable achievements after surviving through Heavenly God Mountain, entering the final round of the Star Domain Genius Battle of the God Kings. He now strides ahead of others, crushing countless divine kingdoms, the first to enter the starry sky waterfall. He's outstanding, and he and Long Li are truly unparalleled geniuses. Snow Sovereign Shuechen and Northern Territory King, watching Yi Chun grow step by step, were immensely satisfied with his performance. In other divine kingdoms, in the 10,000 Beasts Domain region, 9 Stars Sovereign Mrs. He, watching Yi Chun, who was the first to enter the starry sky waterfall with the quality of a heaven's chosen. Then seeing Jiang Yao also entering the starry sky waterfall almost immediately after Yi Chun, also smiled. Mrs. He, who got to know Yi Chun before Snow Sovereign Shuechen and Northern Territory King, felt extremely proud of Yi Chun upon seeing him excel among countless divine kingdoms and innumerable geniuses in this universe. And Jiang Yao, seeing Jiang Yao also bringing supreme honor to the 10,000 Beasts Domain, Mrs. He felt even more proud and proud. In the True Spirit Divine Kingdom region, this time, familiar divine venerables of Yi Chun from the 9 Flames clan and Extreme Spirit clan also came. Seeing Yi Chun drawing attention from all around the universe in the Universal Finals, just like the True Spirit Divine Kingdom back then, those familiar divine venerables couldn't help but nod deeply. The true heavens chosen. Indeed, they shine with the brightest light wherever they are. 10,000 slots per realm for entering the final round. As more and more geniuses make their way in, opportunities are becoming scarcer. Many territories with geniuses who have reached the final round of the Divine Kingdom now feel relieved. However, for those territories without geniuses yet in the starry sky waterfall, the rulers' hearts were fully on edge. Above the starry sky waterfall, in the space where the great power holders of the ancestral god temple were present. At this moment, what these great power holders focused on was not Yi Chun and Long Li, who were among the first to break into the starry sky waterfall, nor the counts of how many people from each divine kingdom had entered the final round. These great power holders were concerned with the closed divine gates within the starry sky waterfall. A voice came from the Cosmic Emperor. The 3rd round of competition, named the Leap God Gate, though primarily meaning to leap over the drop point of the starry sky waterfall and enter within, also carries the meaning of advancing into the divine gates within the starry sky waterfall. The benefits of the 3rd round of competition are mostly within these divine gates. Within the starry sky waterfall, each divine gate represents a special small space. Some divine gates inside offer small benefits, while others hold extraordinarily precious rewards, each marked with special symbols. Altogether, there's only 3 days of competition time in the 3rd round. It depends on whether these geniuses can muster enough strength to enter the best divine gates and seize their respective benefits. As these great power holders of the ancestral god temple gazed upon the divine gates within the starry sky waterfall, each of these closed divine gates also began to radiate brilliant light. On every divine gate appeared special inscriptions, along with numerous divine star marks. Yi Chun, Long Li, Jiang Yao, and others who had entered the starry sky waterfall immediately noticed these changes in the divine gates. At this moment, all entrants faced the countless divine gates in the starry sky waterfall alone. Even though from outside, Yi Chun and Jiang Yao seemed not far apart, within the starry sky waterfall, they appeared to be separated by a special force, each having to roam alone, unable to see others. Not just Yi Chun and Jiang Yao, but all entrants had to journey solo, facing the numerous divine gates to seize opportunities. Yi Chen's gaze was immediately drawn to a divine gate next to him. Yi Chun saw 2 divine star marks embedded on the gate, accompanied by an inscription, 2-star divine gate, entry difficulty level, normal difficulty. Swish! Yi Chun moved to another divine gate and saw its inscription, 5-star divine gate, entry difficulty level, Intermediate difficulty. After observing the inscriptions on various divine gates within the Starry Sky waterfall, Yi Chun quickly understood. Each divine gate in the Starry Sky waterfall could be entered, and each with different entry difficulties, different star ratings, evidently contained different things within. Looking over the vast Starry Sky waterfall, it was impossible to count how many divine gates there were. Yi Chun had no time to venture through each divine gate. Yi Chun knew that this third round of competition lasted only 3 days, and the time he had to seize benefits within the Starry Sky waterfall was also just 3 days. He could not possibly enter every divine gate and had to make choices. Directly try the higher difficulty and higher star-rated divine gates. Higher difficulty and higher star rating likely mean greater benefits inside. With thoughts racing, Yi Chun wasted no time and had made his decision. Boom! Yi Chun's divine sense frantically covered the Starry Sky waterfall. For others, in this fearsome Starry Sky waterfall, they dared not casually explore with their divine sense. Even strong geniuses had limited range when daring to probe. But for Yi Chun, with his divine sense transformed by the primordial star scripture, especially after practicing the Taiyu chapter of the primordial star scripture gaining spatial star aperture sensing, his coverage within the Starry Sky waterfall simply surpasses all others. In an instant, Yi Chun's divine sense covered over 10,000 divine gates, even though it was just a minute area of the entire vast Starry Sky waterfall, more immense than countless divine kingdoms, but it definitely surpassed many geniuses in speed of observing gate by gate. Swish! Yi Chun quickly selected a divine gate, moved there at once. This divine gate was embedded with 11 divine star marks and had an inscription, 11-star divine gate, entry difficulty level. Difficult level. This was the highest star-rated divine gate in the area Yi Chun had screened. Following that, Yi Chun's divine power surged towards the divine gate. As Yi Chun attempted to enter this 11-star divine gate, another God King who entered the Starry Sky waterfall not long after Yi Chun chose an 11-star divine gate as well. But that God King spent a great deal of time at the 11-star divine gate, unable to enter it, and had to give up and choose a lower-level gate. But he couldn't even get through the 9-star or 5-star gates. While this God King was blocked by one gate after another, unable to enter any for half the day, Yi Chun, after attacking the 11-star divine gates several times, was instead enveloped in a mass of divine light, his entire being moved with a leap, directly entering the gate. Yi Chun successfully entered within the 11-star divine gate. Chapter 1105. The final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. Emperor Liao once said that within the Starry Sky waterfall, countless great benefits abound, far surpassing the benefits of the Star-Vine Divine Light. In the first round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, countless vines, and the benefits of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. In the second round, Aurora Flush. Yi Chun entered the Starry Sky waterfall, and further entered one of the highest 11-star divine gates among thousands of divine sects, where he faced things that countless participants had never seen before. Upon entering the 11-star divine gate, what met Yi Chun's eyes was a divine pond glimmering with divine light. Beside the divine pond stood an ancient stele, with a stele inscription explaining, Ancestor Bow Pool, Pool of Life Evolution. The Ancestor Bow essence within the pool water can greatly enhance life potential, leading to significant positive transformation of life, suitable for use below the Dominion realm. Those who enter Ancestor Bow Pool can choose to soak in the pool water for 1 day, or choose to take away the equivalent amount of Ancestor Bow essence absorbed in 1 day's soak. If you wish to soak directly in the pool water, you can practice the first divine method on the ancient stele. If you wish to take away the Ancestor Bow essence and absorb it later, you can practice the second divine method on the ancient stele. Yi Chun looked at the explanation about the Ancestor Bow Pool within the 11-star divine gate on the ancient stele. After a few breaths, he moved his wrist, and an ancient-looking water jug placed by the pond flew up, the lid slightly open. Yi Chun operated the newly acquired divine method, directly using the water jug to absorb the Ancestor Bow essence from the pool. 2 choices. Yi Chun only had 3 days to seek benefits within this Starry Sky waterfall. Since he could take away an equivalent value of Ancestor Bow essence, he certainly did not want to spend a day soaking here. Outside, countless divine gates and countless benefits awaited Yi Chun. He must cherish every bit of time. Swish. After absorbing most of the jug of ancestor bow essence, Yi-chun, following the sealing method recorded on the ancient steel, directly sealed the water jug and stored it in his storage divine ring. Seeing no other benefits to obtain within the 11-star divine gate, Yi-chun flew out directly from this divine gate. Returning to the outside of the starry sky waterfall, Yi-chun flew a long distance forward again, then activated his divine sense to envelop thousands of divine gates once more, selecting the highest star-rated divine gate among them. This turned out to be a 12-star divine gate. This time, Yi-chun once again broke through the defenses of the 12-star divine gate and entered this 12-star divine gate. Inside this divine gate was an incomparably gigantic ice-sealed divine mountain. Within this divine mountain, Yi-chun directly obtained an incredible ice and snow divine object. The time that followed, Yi-chun ventured through one divine gate after another. Yi-chun discovered that among the countless divine gates he searched, the star rating of the highest ones was generally 12, and he did not see any higher than 12-star, or perhaps he simply had not found them, or the starry sky waterfall's highest was only 12. However, Yi-chun was already very satisfied. He would not waste time looking for possibly non-existent higher star divine gates. He aimed to obtain as many benefits as possible. If someone were to see Yi-chun's search for benefits within the divine gates, they would certainly be astonished. In the subsequent third-round competition time, Yi-chun fully entered 21 11-star divine gates and 15 12-star divine gates. The benefits he received were as if obtained from a treasure trove. Inside, there were not only incredibly precious cultivation resources but also special divine treasures and divine objects. Most of the divine treasures and divine objects were brought by the ancestral god temple from the cosmic sea, not originally from this universe. Yi-chun indeed had astonishing gains, but upon speaking of it, of course, someone saw Yi-chun's scene of seeking benefits. Within the upper space of the starry sky waterfall, more than 40,000 national masters and sovereigns of god kingdoms saw Yi-chun entering one divine gate after another, and in another space, the great power holders of the ancestral god temple also saw Yi-chun's treasure-seeking scene. Not only Yi-chun, but also other participants' treasure-seeking scenes could be seen by these strong beings. However, despite seeing the scenes of countless people seeking treasures, Yi-chun's actions still attracted the attention of the vast majority of strong beings. Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, Yi-chun. This young man is indeed extraordinary, to have gained so many benefits in such a short time. His gains are not at all inferior to those of the most powerful divine venerables in the battle of the true gods. The great power holders of the ancestral god temple spoke highly of Yi-chun's performance. For the emergence of a divine marvel genius like Yi-chun, the ancestral god temple was undoubtedly overjoyed. After all, these treasures were originally prepared by the ancestral god temple to cultivate talents. A divine prodigy like Yi-chun, originating from this universe, will bring greater benefits to this universe in the future, and to the ancestral god temple that governs it. Basically, there's no surprise. Yi-chun will definitely enter the top 10 of the Battle of the God Kings in this Stellar Domain Genius Battle's cosmic final showdown, and can be taken by our ancestral god temple to the primal beginning universe. Originally in the primal beginning universe, when contending with geniuses from other universes, we only expected Chanchan's performance in the God King realm. Now, it seems Yi-chun is also worth our great anticipation. A master from the ancestral god temple spoke up. Another master nodded, his gaze directed in another direction. This time, several divine venerables are also extraordinarily formidable. After the stellar domain genius battle ends, they are likely to advance to sovereign. In the primal beginning universe, sovereign-level talents will be an even more important group. The great power holders of the ancestral god temple were already discussing the later matters of the primal beginning universe. However, the rulers of various divine kingdoms were still keenly focused on this stellar domain genius battle, paying close attention to this third-round competition. The rulers were watching their divine kingdom's geniuses' gains at the starry sky waterfall, while also noting how many of their own had passed this third-round competition and qualified for the final round. Despite Yi-chun constantly seeking treasures in the starry sky waterfall's divine gate, It was because Yi Chun had first completed the Leap God Gate task. Many others were still struggling in competition, with several being eliminated by the terrifying whirlpool at the base of the Starry Sky waterfall. When the 3 days of the third round competition had fully passed, Yi Chun made an astounding gain within the Starry Sky waterfall's Divine Gate. All candidates entering the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Cosmic Showdown were finally decided. This time, the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Cosmic Showdown had 10,000 true gods, god kings, and divine venerables entering each. These are the first 10,000 to successfully leap the God Gate in the 3 major realms, breaking into the Starry Sky waterfall. With 10,000 from each of the 3 realms entering the final round, the total comes to 30,000. Yet this universe has a total of 43,697 divine kingdoms. On average, less than 1 person from each divine kingdom made it to the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. Among them, the powerful upper divine kingdoms occupied a large number of spots, which means many divine kingdoms did not have even 1 person break into the final round, and the true gods, god kings, divine venerables they sent to the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Cosmic Final Showdown were all eliminated. These divine kingdoms clearly did not achieve dazzling results in this Stellar Domain Genius Battle and, very likely, their position will remain subordinate, governed by stronger divine kingdoms. This is, indeed, survival of the fittest. Of course, some ordinary divine kingdoms succeeded in re-emerging due to the emergence of powerful younger generations in this Stellar Domain Genius Battle. The Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation is one such example. In past Stellar Domain Genius Battles, it was rare for anyone from the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation to make it to the final round. In recent times, there were many occasions with none at all. However, this time they had 3 people advance to the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. These 3 were Mo Xiaohan in the True God realm, Yi Chun in the God King realm, and Long Li in the Divine Venerable realm. Suddenly having 3 people enter the final round, with 2 capable of progressing further, made the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation stand out even more prominently than many upper divine kingdoms. Evidently, after this Stellar Domain Genius Battle, the status of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation in the universe will also be greatly elevated. Of course, emerging from the Stellar Domain Genius Battle is not exclusive to the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation alone. Many other divine kingdoms also achieved much better results than before. The 10,000 Beasts domain achieved exceptional results due to Jiang Yao's extraordinary performance. There was even a divine kingdom named Songli, whose performance was comparable to the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. Songli Divine Kingdom was originally ranked lower than Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. Yet this time, 2 people broke into the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. A true god among them even outshone the true gods from the Moke Divine Country, the universe's foremost divine kingdom. It's very likely this person has a chance to secure a top 3, or even the first place in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Battle of the True Gods. When the list of all those entering the final round of competition was settled, countless citizens of divine kingdoms across the universe watched the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, some excited beyond measure, others dispirited. Many divine kingdom rulers were excitedly conversing, while others mourned in silence. Yet, the Stellar Domain Genius Battle is not over, for the competition continues. The most crucial final round competition, the true test of combat power, finally arrives after the conclusion of the third round competition. At the instant the third round of competition time ended, all contestants who qualified for the final round felt an incredibly terrifying pull on them no matter where they were in the Starry Sky waterfall. Subsequently, everyone saw a supremely divine temple appear suddenly at the extremely high place of the Starry Sky waterfall where they could not reach during their journeys within. This temple, appearing abruptly at the high point of the Starry Sky waterfall, emanated 10,000 rays of light. Then all contestants who qualified for the final round felt drawn toward the temple, and in the engulfment of divine light, a total of 30,000, the first 10,000 true gods, god kings, and divine venerables, were all drawn into the temple. Chapter 1106 Void Command, Ancient Tua. Void God Temple. Once Yi Chun and the others were brought into the temple, Yi Chun discovered that, including himself, 30,000 people were standing in an enormous hall, with a plaque high above in the center inscribed with the 4 characters Void God Temple. This is a temple hidden within the starry sky waterfall. Will the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius battle be conducted here? After being transported into the Void God Temple, Jiang Yao and Long Li stood by Yi Chen's side. Jiang Yao looked at the 4 characters on the plaque and gently spoke to Yi Chen. Yi Chen surveyed his surroundings and nodded. Since we were brought here, the subsequent competitions are probably related to this place. However, this hall is quite peculiar. Apart from where we are standing, every other place is inexplicably shielded by divine power, making it impossible for me to probe deeper into the hall. Long Li also nodded and said, "Indeed, it is quite peculiar. It seems we can only wait for the competition to begin for this hall to gradually reveal itself to us." While Yi Chen, Jiang Yao, and Long Li softly conversed, other contestants who were drawn into the Void God Temple gathered in small groups to chat. No one knew how the final round would be conducted or how the top 10 of the 3 realms of the Stellar Domain Genius battle would be decided. However, they didn't have to wait long. After the top 10,000 contestants from the 3 realms entered the Void God Temple for several breaths, a figure descended from the sky of the Void God Temple. It was none other than Emperor Liao, responsible for the Stellar Domain Genius battle. Emperor Liao is a peak existence of the Cosmic Emperor. No matter how divinely marvelous this Void God Temple is, it is clearly incomparable to Emperor Liao. While others were drawn into the Void God Temple, Emperor Liao directly entered, the void posing no obstruction to him. Upon arriving in the sky above the Void God Temple, Emperor Liao addressed Yi Chen and all the contestants. The final round of the universe-wide 3-realm competition of the Stellar Domain Genius battle will be held here in the Void God Temple. The Void God Temple is divided into 4 levels. This is just the first level. In the first level, the top 10,000 of each realm will determine the top 1,000, who will proceed to the second level of the Void God Temple for the next round. In the second level, the top 100 will be determined, proceeding to the third level. In the third level, the top 10 will be determined, and they will move to the final level, the fourth level of the Void God Temple. In the fourth level, the specific rankings of the top 10 in each realm will be determined, marking the end of the Stellar Domain Genius battle. Each level has different competition methods. Let me first explain the rules for the first level. Emperor Liao's words stirred both excitement and tension among all contestants. In the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius battle, all rankings were to be decided within the Void God Temple. By the time everyone left here, the specific rankings of this Stellar Domain Genius battle would be finalized. The contestants' gaze turned to others, especially towards figures like Yi Chen, Long Li, Moko Yi, and Long Ning. Those who could make it to the final round were all strong contenders, chosen from the top 10,000 of a single realm across countless divine kingdoms in the universe. After all, these contestants had gone through internal selection battles within divine kingdoms and triumphed in the first, second, and third round eliminations at the Sky Waterfall. Each of them could be considered exceptional talents within any divine kingdom. However, even among exceptional talents, there are distinctions of strength. The specific strengths of other people were not yet clear, but the strongest few, including Yi Chen and Long Li, were certainly among them. As the contestants assessed each other, Emperor Liao began to elucidate the specific rules for the first level of the Void God Temple. As I've mentioned, the first level of the Void God Temple will determine the top 1,000 of the True God, Divine King, and Divine Venerable realms. The method of determination is divided into 2 steps. First, defeat the ancient Tuo to obtain the Void Command. Second, fight to contend for the Void Command. With a swish, after Emperor Liao finished speaking, with a wave of his hand, the previously inaccessible deeper areas of the Void God Temple that Yi Chen and Long Li couldn't probe into were unlocked, revealing their contents. What shocked Yi Chen? In this deeper part of the first level hall, there are 3 regions, each standing with stone figures that resemble statues, occupying large areas of the hall. Casting his divine sense, Yi Chen discovered that all the stone figures in each region together amounted to precisely 1,000. 1,000 stone figures per region. The first level will determine the top 1,000 of each realm. Recalling what Emperor Liao had just said about defeating the ancient Tuo to seize the Void Command, Yi Chun immediately understood that the so-called ancient Tuo were these stone figures. Quite possibly, defeating the ancient Tuo means fighting against these stone figures. Seizing the Void Command likely means to obtain them by defeating these stone figures' ancient Tuo. Just as Yi Chun surmised. As the three regions, each with 1,000 stone figures appeared, Emperor Liao directly said, "These stone statues are the ancient Tuo. Do not underestimate these ancient Tuo. Their combat power is extraordinarily formidable. Only by defeating them can you obtain the Void Command from them. Each region's 1,000 ancient Tuo hides 1,000 Void Commands. Those 1,000 Void Commands are the qualifying tokens to enter the next level of the Void God Temple. Each of you has only one chance to challenge the ancient Tuo. Defeat it and you can seize the Void Command, becoming its temporary holder. Of course, if others fail to defeat the ancient Tuo, or the Void Command is already taken by someone else without facing it, they can choose to challenge the temporary holder of the Void Command. If the current holder is defeated and loses the Void Command, they also have a chance to challenge others again. Remember, each person only has one chance to challenge others. If you fail, you'll completely lose the opportunity to vie for the Void Command, meaning you'll be entirely eliminated from the top 1,000 contenders. A genius must have not only strength but also insight and fortune. I will watch here to see who among the top 10,000 in each realm will become among the top 1,000 victors. The region where true gods battle the ancient Tuo is the left area of the hall. The Divine King's region is the center. The Divine Venerable's region is the right. Emperor Liao's words directed all the contestants' attention toward the direction of the ancient Tuo stone statues. You only have one chance to challenge the ancient Tuo. To fight with other contenders, there is also only one chance. In this contest for the top 1,000, that means there are at most 2 chances to take the initiative. Especially since there are only 1,000 ancient Tuos on the field. If others defeat an ancient Tuo and seize the Void Command first, you'll miss a chance to take the initiative to get it. Taking the initiative to grab the Void Command means you can at least defend it, and if you fail, you have the opportunity to challenge others. If you don't take the initiative and the Void Command is gone, you'll have only one chance to challenge other holders of the Void Command. If you fail, you'll be directly eliminated. This made many people prepare themselves, just waiting for Emperor Liao to announce the start of the competition, rushing first to challenge the ancient Tuo to seize the chance. Emperor Liao did not keep them waiting long. After explaining the rules for competing in the top 1,000 of the Void God Temple's first level, he directly announced the beginning of the battle against the ancient Tuo to seize the Void Command. Whoosh! 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 Instantly, countless figures flew towards the 1,000 ancient Tuo statues in the 3 major areas. In front of even one ancient Tuo, several people crowded together. This time's competition didn't limit battles before facing the ancient Tuo. Quite a few battles erupted in front of several ancient Tuos even before they began to fight them, competing for the opportunity to battle an ancient Tuo first. Such battles do not count towards the 2 opportunities to act proactively for the Void Command. So contestants can use this chance to gauge others' strengths. Even if they fail to seize the Void Command from the ancient Tuo, they can choose weaker opponents to challenge for their Void Command. Immediately, many battles broke out. Of course, although these early battles don't involve elimination, they are extremely dangerous because any injury means a huge disadvantage in later battles with the ancient Tuo or challenges against temporary holders of the Void Command. This is exactly what Emperor Liao meant when he said geniuses need both strength and insight and should know when to make their move. Let's also try and see how the ancient Tuo fights. Yi Chun felt no pressure. Whether it was battling the ancient Tuo to grab the Void Command or not fighting it and choosing to take a Void Command from another holder, Yi Chun was fully confident. This time, Yi Chun didn't hold back much. He wanted to see how the ancient Tuo placed in the Void God Temple by the Ancestral God Temple fought. Seeing that Yi Chun wanted to make a move, Zhang Yao and Long Li exchanged a smile and said, "Just right. We also want to give it a try." Yi Chun, Zhang Yao, and Long Li headed straight towards the 3 ancient Tuos in the Divine King and Divine Venerable areas. In the crowd, Noticing that Yi-chun was about to act, the little girl Qianqian's eyes lit up, and she flew in front of an ancient Tuo. What kind of character was Yi-chun? The battles of the first 3 rounds had already earned him a formidable reputation among all the contestants. Originally, at the ancient Tuo's location where Yi-chun was heading, there were 3 divine kings battling, fighting for the chance to challenge this ancient Tuo. But when Yi-chun approached, these 3 divine kings froze and even paused their battle. Divine King Yi-chun, do you also want to challenge this ancient Tuo? One of the 3 divine kings spoke to Yi-chun. Yi-chun looked at this divine king, then at the other 2, nodded, and smiled. Sorry, I happen to have some interest in this ancient Tuo. With just one sentence from Yi-chun, the 3 divine kings who were originally vying for this ancient Tuo were instantly startled. Then, the 3 almost simultaneously cupped their hands towards Yi-chun and directly left this ancient Tuo. What a joke! With Yi-chun personally coming to this ancient Tuo, what was there left for those 3 to fight over? They knew there was absolutely no chance of competing against Yi-chun. The 3 then went to other ancient Tuos to fight others for a chance to challenge. Seeing the actions of the 3, Yi-chun smiled. Following that, Yi-chun's gaze directly turned to the ancient Tuo statue in front of him. Chapter 1107. Instant Kill. This ancient Tuo stone statue is about 2 meters tall, with a human face and a lion's body, holding a pair of special divine weapons in its hands, and a pair of wings growing from its back. After examining the ancient Tuo stone statue for a few moments, Yi-chun directly stepped into the combat area of this ancient Tuo. In an instant, the ancient Tuo stone statue in front of Yi-chun was activated, with a divine light first emanating from its eyes, and then the entire statue came to life. At the moment the ancient Tuo stone statue came to life, Yi-chun sensed that the combat area where he stood was directly illuminated by a weird beam. Under the shroud of the weird beam, Yi-chun and the ancient Tuo in front of him unexpectedly entered a strange battle space together. This battle space is incomparably large. Yi-chun stood in this vast space, scrutinizing his surroundings. At this time, the activated ancient Tuo that entered the battle space with Yi-chun directly flashed divine light with both hands, and the divine weapons in its hands bore terrifying power as they charged towards Yi-chun. When the divine weapons flashed, it seemed a special cultivation technique was contained within, and under the technique's drive, the killing force targeting Yi-chun not only had the divine weapon's inherent attack power, but also a strange noise that directly hammered at Yi-chun's mind. Yi-chun felt that whether it was the killing force of the ancient Tuo's divine weapons themselves or the strange noise, they both far exceeded the range an ordinary god king could withstand. But Yi-chun was not an ordinary god king. Yi-chun was the most powerful god king level figure in this universe, even capable of contending with sovereign level beings. However terrifying this ancient Tuo was, Yi-chun had ample strength to handle it. Moreover, Yi-chun had not yet employed the eternal god body, Tai divine power, or other lethal moves he had previously cultivated. Yi-chun intended to test the power of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound cultivation technique he obtained from the Starry Sky waterfall during the duel with this ancient Tuo. The Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound is comprised of 36 volumes, a cultivation technique even ancestral God Temple divine master-level individuals can train in. Even though Yi-chun had not completed all 36 volumes, with his comprehension of the first 12 volumes, Yi-chun found it sufficient to deal with the ancient Tuo before him. At the moment the ancient Tuo attacked, Yi-chun formed a spell with his hand and uttered the 8-word true word of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. This 8-word true word directly transformed into 8 shimmering runes, rushing to suppress and slay the ancient Tuo before him. Among the 8-word true words, the rune of the word restrict directly formed a law space, binding the attacking divine weapons of the ancient Tuo. Simultaneously, another rune with the word capture further directly pulled the ancient Tuo's divine weapons into the law space. Subsequently, as the divine might of the 2 true word runes was unleashed, they directly destroyed these divine weapons of the ancient Tuo within the law space. Even more fearsome attacks of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound were to follow. Next, as the rune for the word shatter among the 8-word true words flickered, It directly dismembered the strange killing force noise brought by the ancient Tuo, turning it to dust. Yi Chun, harnessing the 8-word true words, dismantled the ancient Tuo's attack with merely 3 words. The remaining 5-word true word runes directly formed the momentum of suppress, slay, instantly completely subduing the ancient Tuo in the arena. Following this, as the true word runes quivered violently, they directly obliterated the ancient Tuo into the void. Yi Chun, with a single move, directly defeated the ancient Tuo. This ancient Tuo did not even have the opportunity to make a second move. Previously, Emperor Liao had said that the ancient Tuo possessed strong combat power, leading Yi Chun to anticipate the ancient Tuo's performance. It now appears that Emperor Liao was considering the ancient Tuo's combat power by the strength of other participants. Regarding an existence like Yi Chun, the ancient Tuo before the first 1,000 levels was far from enough to behold. Of course, this duel did have its uses for Yi Chun. The experiment with the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound greatly delighted Yi Chun. The Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound that just subdued the ancient Tuo was still the killing move Yi Chun directly drove using the 8th volume of the cultivation technique. Yi Chun hadn't even driven the further powerful cultivation techniques that lie ahead. In this experiment, Yi Chun felt that the first 12 volumes of the cultivation technique he now mastered might even be used to deal with weaker sovereign-level individuals. When he cultivates the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound's 36 volumes further, perhaps relying on this cultivation technique, he would be sufficient to contend with formidable sovereigns or even divine masters. The Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, obtained in the previous Stellar Domain Genius Battle second round of the Great Cosmic Finals, is evidently a powerful cultivation technique that enables Yi Chun to continue enhancing his combat power. Yi Chun now had one more method at his disposal. After reflecting briefly on the battle gains from the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, Yi Chun directly pulled in a token that appeared on the ground where the ancient Tuo vanished. Void Command. Yi Chun knew this was the qualifying token to proceed to the second level of the Void God Temple. The moment Yi Chun took the Void Command in hand, the battle space in front of him also disappeared, and Yi Chun returned to the outer main hall. From the time Yi Chun and the ancient Tuo entered the battle space to when Yi Chun slew the ancient Tuo and obtained the Void Command, not even 10 breaths had passed. When Yi Chun stepped into the combat zone, many people were already observing Yi Chun, wanting to see how long it would take him to defeat the ancient Tuo. These people all knew that Yi Chun defeating the ancient Tuo was without a doubt. The only question was how long it would take. What they did not expect was that Yi Chun defeated the ancient Tuo in merely 10 breaths. Considering the time spent entering the battle, everyone speculated that Yi Chun must have used 1 or 2 moves at most to kill ancient Tuo. Ancient Tuo, the guardian demon of the first layer in the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's ultimate showdown across the universe, was thus swiftly killed by Yi Chun. This, of course, astonished countless divine kings. This Yi Chun truly lives up to being a powerful genius capable of defeating Yuming Shifeng. His combat power is simply terrifying. I wonder when they'll arrange a battle between him and the strongest few divine kings. I really want to see their fight. Many divine kings were shocked, but Yi Chun did not pay attention to them. Upon obtaining the Void Command, Yi Chun directly looked towards the battle area where Zhang Yao and Long Li were. The location of ancient Tuo that Zhang Yao and Long Li headed to was not contested by others, and they entered the battle against ancient Tuo at almost the same time as Yi Chun. Shortly after Yi Chun glanced towards Zhang Yao and Long Li, the 2 women also successfully defeated ancient Tuo, each obtaining a Void Command. 1,000 Void Commands at the God King realm, Yi Chun and Zhang Yao had already acquired 2 of them. 1,000 Void Commands at the Divine Venerable realm, Long Li also obtained 1. Seeing Zhang Yao and Long Li successfully complete the task, Yi Chun smiled, and then looked towards the True God area. At this time, in the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, aside from Yi Chun and Long Li, only True God Mo Xiaohan remained. Yi Chun noticed that Mo Xiaohan was still competing with other True Gods, vying for a challenge spot at one of ancient Tuo's positions. However, Mo Xiaohan, who made it to the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's ultimate showdown, had clearly almost exhausted her potential and was defeated in the competition with other True Gods, failing to secure a chance to challenge ancient Tuo. To enter the top 1,000 later, she can only have a chance by challenging the temporary holders of the Void Command again. At this moment, Mo Xiaohan was somewhat disheartened. When she saw Yi Chun looking at her and then saw the Void Command in Yi Chun and Long Li's hands, Mo Xiaohan finally showed a smile. Mo Xiaohan knew that she had already contributed her strength to the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom by making it to the final round of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Ultimate Showdown. The rest could only rely on the stronger Yi Chun and Long Li. Yi Chun and Long Li are not like me, who barely made it to the final round. They have enough strength to go further, maybe even reach the very peak. Mo Xiaohan thought silently in her heart. As Yi Chun, Zhang Yao, Long Li, and others successively defeated Ancient Tuo and obtained the Void Command, more and more people also acquired the Void Command after battling Ancient Tuo. Even if someone failed in challenging Ancient Tuo, others would still step in for another challenge. In the end, each of the 1,000 Ancient Tuo in every realm was defeated, and the 1,000 Void Commands in each major realm also emerged completely. When all the Void Commands had temporary holders, the second round of contention for the Void Command commenced directly. Some less powerful individuals were directly challenged, but the challengers mostly failed. After all, those who managed to secure a chance to battle Ancient Tuo and defeated him were strong, making it hard for others to succeed in their challenges. Only a few people who didn't want to take the initiative to battle Ancient Tuo earlier chose to seize the Void Command from others, resulting in a few ownership changes for the Void Command. In this round of challenges, Mo Xiaohan again failed to succeed in her battles and did not obtain a Void Command, ultimately stopping at the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's True God Battle with 10,000 down to 1,000 matchups. When all challenges were concluded, the 1,000 Void Commands had true owners. The owners of these 1,000 Void Commands became the top 1,000 of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle and would enter the second layer of the Void God Temple to participate in the new 1,000 to 100 challenge. In the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, only Yi Chun and Long Li were left to continue advancing forward. Of course, representing the 10,000 Beasts domain was Zhang Yao, representing the Longshan Divine Kingdom was Long Ning and Chanxian, and representing the Mok Divine Country were Moko Yi and Mok Wang, all still within the top 1,000. As the elimination of the first layer of the Void God Temple concluded, Emperor Liao did not waste time. After confirming the top 1,000 in each realm, Emperor Liao directly led the top 1,000 from the three major realms into the second layer of the Void God Temple. In the second layer of the Void God Temple, the top 100 of the battle across the three major realms in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle will be decided directly. Upon arriving at the second layer of the Void God Temple, Yi Chun immediately saw that in the space of this second layer, there stood 7 gigantic divine mountains. These 7 divine mountains, each taller than the last, and they all stood at the foot of the shortest, the first divine mountain. Chapter 1108, Limit. 1,000 to 100 elimination competition. Is it related to the 7 divine mountains before us? Yi Chun and others looked at the 7 divine mountains in front of them, each higher than the last, pondering in their hearts. Emperor Liao didn't announce the specific method of elimination, and just by looking at these 7 divine mountains, no one could guess how the competition would proceed. Yi Chun found that even his divine sense could not penetrate these 7 divine mountains at all. The divine mountains seemed to have special prohibitions that completely barred contestants from exploring in advance. As everyone pondered, Emperor Liao, who led the 1,000 strong from the 3 realms into the second layer of the Void God Temple, directly announced the competition rules for the second layer of the Void God Temple. As I said before, in the second layer of the Void God Temple, 100 will be selected from 1,000 in each realm to advance to the more advanced third layer of the Void God Temple. In this round, the last 900 will be eliminated. The specific method of elimination is to enter the 7 divine mountains in front and engage in battles with the demons inside. The top 100 will be determined based on your progress through the divine mountains. As he spoke, Emperor Liao also directed his gaze toward the 7 divine mountains ahead. He specifically stated, "These 7 divine mountains were transported from the cosmic sea by the ancestral god temple, inhabited by demons. They differ from the earlier battle with the ancient Tuo, where you could completely defeat him and obtain the 1,000 void commands in his possession. As for these 7 divine mountains, let alone yourselves, Even many divine masters of the ancestral god temple cannot completely conquer them, with most only reaching the middle of the sixth divine mountain. Thus, this time with the 7 divine mountains, none of you can possibly conquer them all. The final score will depend on who ventures the furthest. The time allotted for this layer of mountain climbing is a total of 3 days. After 3 days, only the top 100 from each realm who have ventured the furthest will qualify for the top 100 of this stellar domain genius battle across the 3 realms. Of course, if the last few in the top 100 have reached the same position in the divine mountains, the fastest to reach that level will claim the top 100 spot. I must remind you, each of these 7 divine mountains has 9 spatial levels, and the farther and higher the divine mountain, the greater the threat of the demons inside. Each of you entering these divine mountains to battle those demons will do so in a solitary space, unable to see others' progress. Thus, to ensure a place in the top 100, you must exert your utmost strength and strive to reach the furthest point. Do not worry about dying in the divine mountains. The ancestral god temple has placed protections inside. If you encounter an unavoidable mortal threat and are judged to be killed by the demons, you'll be transported out of the mountain. Therefore, unleash your greatest power and fight fiercely inside. There are 3 entrances to the 7 divine mountains, known as the True God entrance, the Divine King entrance, and the Divine Venerable entrance. Prepare yourselves, and after 1 incense stick of time, start entering these dedicated entrances for each realm, and head toward the farther behind divine mountains and higher divine mountain levels. Emperor Liao's explanation of this competition's elimination rules focused all remaining contestants' attention on the 7 divine mountains. These 7 divine mountains were actually transported from the cosmic sea by the ancestral god temple, and the farther the divine mountains, the more terrifying the demons inside. The 7 divine mountains, each with 9 levels of space, equate to a total of 63 demon battle spaces. Even divine masters cannot reach the very last level. They can only reach the middle of the 6th divine mountain. This clearly indicates that no one present can conquer all 63 demon battle levels, and they would eventually be eliminated by the demons at some level. It might happen at the 5th, 4th divine mountain or even earlier. This statement directly made many in the arena tense, while many powerful geniuses were stirred with ambition. Like Yi Chun, who always wanted to truly battle, the previous ancient Tuo wasn't enough to bring out his full combat power. Now, these 7 divine mountains might finally reveal his limits. Yi Chun also wished to face these demons transported from the cosmic sea in a good fight, to see just how far he could go. The ancestral god temple is the dominant power of the cosmic sea of this universe. The stronger you perform, the more attention the ancestral god temple will give you, and the more resources they will devote to nurturing you. One must give their all, not only to enter the top 100, but also to reach their ultimate limits. It wasn't just Yi Chun. Many other powerful geniuses were filled with a strong desire for battle. Even the always calm little girl Qianqian turned serious. It seemed she too wanted to engage in a proper fight with the demons inside the divine mountains, to see how far she could go. As everyone gathered their mind and spirit, igniting their fighting spirit, Emperor Liao pointed out the entrances for the 3 realms' respective mountain entry, and directly announced the start of this great mountain climbing competition. In an instant, the 1,000 strong across the 3 realms, totaling 3,000 people, flew directly toward the 3 entrances. 3 days of mountain climbing time. After 3 days, the top 100 of this stellar domain genius battle's grand cosmic showdown will be decided here. Among the crowd, Yi Chun and Zhang Yao longly exchanged glances of encouragement. Then, like the others, entered the divine mountain entrances, disappearing one by one. The next moment, as the space shifted, Yi Chun found himself already in the first space of the first divine mountain. In front of Yi Chun, there was an inscription on a stele. The first divine mountain is called Calamity Mountain, where the 9-layered demon beasts inside are all calamity-creating great demons. The calamity-creating great demon is a demon beast from the Oblivion River Sea, located in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. It once caused great havoc there and ranks 53rd among the ferocious beasts of the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. Calamity-creating great demon. Yi Chun had never heard of such a demon beast before. Evidently, it was a species unique to the cosmic sea. Shortly after entering the first space of the first divine mountain, Yi Chun heard a terrifying roar from deeper within the space. Following that, a massive black terrifying beast, more than 10,000 feet tall, emerged from the depths of the space. This was a creature that resembled a bull but wasn't a bull. Its lower body was humanoid, with 3 legs, a long tail at the back, and a head resembling a bull's, bearing 2 gigantic horns. As soon as the calamity-creating great demon appeared, it opened its mouth and sprayed a thick black fog towards Yi Chun. This black mist had highly corrosive properties, capable of destroying the land of the ordinary star continent if it fell upon it. However, this was just the first-level beast of the first divine mountain, and for Yi Chun it posed no challenge whatsoever. Divine light flashed on Yi Chun's body, and his size instantly expanded to 10,000 feet. Then, he directly used the Eternal God Body's attack techniques. Only after merging the 3 divine patterns attack methods was he able to successfully slay the calamity-creating great demon. After this demon's death, a passage leading to the second layer of the divine mountain appeared, and Yi Chun stepped into the second space of the first divine mountain. The guardian demon of the second space was also a calamity-creating great demon. However, this one was smaller than the demon in the first layer, but its combat power was significantly enhanced. Of course, for Yi Chun, this layer was also not difficult. Yi Chun once again used the attack techniques of the Eternal God Body to slay it. In this manner, Yi Chun cleared his way through. In just a moment, Yi Chun had completed all 9 spaces of the first divine mountain. In the 9th space, there was a teleportation divine formation leading to the first space of the second divine mountain. Yi Chun stepped into the formation and was transported into the first layer of the second divine mountain. In the first space of the second divine mountain, there was again information about the demon beast of this layer. The second divine mountain is called Sky Saber Mountain, and the 9-layer demon beasts inside are 10,000 Swords Great Demons. The 10,000 Swords Great Demon is a massive demon from the 10,000 Mist Cliff in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea, ranking 35th among the ferocious beasts. This demon naturally carries blades that are excellent materials for crafting saber-shaped divine artifacts. Swoosh! When the demon appeared inside the second divine mountain, seeing the 10,000 Swords Great Demon before him, Yi Chun was greatly amazed. This was a creature that resembled a porcupine, but instead of quills, it was covered with blades. Yi Chun noticed that the blade quality of just the first layer's 10,000 Swords Great Demon in the second divine mountain reached the level of many divine venerable mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. When the 10,000 Swords Great Demon attacked Yi Chun, its blades could even fly out, forming a terrifying blade formation. Weaker contestants might find themselves greatly challenged upon reaching this second divine mountain. However, for Yi Chun, this 10,000 Swords Great Demon could not stop his progress. Yi Chun directly activated the 9 Swords of Annihilation, using sword against blade, and swiftly slayed the 10,000 Swords Great Demon. Before entering the second layer of the second divine mountain, Yi Chun removed the blades from the 10,000 Swords Great Demon, which, although of not exceptionally high quality to Yi Chun, could become excellent weapons for many of Yi Chun's clansmen on the original Spirit Source Star, provided they were properly refined. Yi Chun certainly would not waste these materials. Thus, Yi Chun smoothly cleared the 9 layers of the second divine mountain. From the 9 10,000 Swords Great Demons of the 9 spaces, Yi Chun collected a large batch of blade materials, which was quite a harvest. When Yi Chun entered the third divine mountain, he clearly sensed that the beasts inside were becoming more terrifying. The guardian beast of the first layer of the third divine mountain was several times more powerful than the beast of the 9th layer of the second divine mountain. Evidently, the further Yi Chun advanced through the divine mountains, the more qualitatively enhanced the beast's combat power became. The guardian beasts of the third divine mountain were a type of massive beast called Golden Gong's bees, and they appeared not individually but in swarms, proficient not only in coordinated attacks but also in a deadly sonic assault. Yi Chun spent considerable time breaking through the 9 layers of the third divine mountain, having to utilize all the killing force from the first 12 chapters of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, which he had recently cultivated and learned, to slay all the beasts within. The third divine mountain was already quite fearsome, and the fourth divine mountain behind it would obviously be even more terrifying. As Yi Chun stepped into the first layer of the fourth divine mountain, he immediately felt a different sensation. This fourth divine mountain began to make Yi Chun feel a strong sense of danger. Yi Chun frowned and looked towards the explanatory steel inscription of the great demons in the fourth divine mountain. Chapter 1109. Wrath of the God Devouring. The steel on the first layer of the fourth divine mountain read, "The fourth divine mountain, named Ice Feather Mountain, contains 9 layers of demons, known as the Ice Extreme Source Beast. The Ice Extreme Source Beast is a flying great demon, considered one of the top 10 ferocious creatures in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. Those Ice Extreme Source Beasts that have reached high levels of cultivation can even kill figures of the Overlord level. However, the ones placed within this mountain are Ice Extreme Source Beasts that have not yet matured to their peak." Ice Extreme Source Beast. The mention of the demons of the fourth divine mountain made Yi Chun's mind and spirit tremble. In the first 3 divine mountains, he fought the calamity-creating great demon, the 10,000 swords great demon, and the golden gongsby great demon, each more terrifying than the last. And now, the great demon within this fourth divine mountain ranks among the top 10 ferocious creatures in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. Though he didn't know where the eastern edge of the cosmic sea was, to be considered a vast territory within the cosmic sea hinted at its enormous scope and numerous kinds of demons. Ranking among the top 10 ferocious creatures in such a location underscored the terrifying nature of these great demons. Particularly, the steel stated that a highly cultivated Ice Extreme Source Beast could kill figures of the Overlord level, far exceeding Yi Chun's current level in combat power. Even though the fourth divine mountain didn't host such advanced Ice Extreme Source Beasts, even the ordinary ones would be formidable opponents. Otherwise, Yi Chun wouldn't have such a keen sense of danger. This time, Yi Chun wasn't as relaxed as he had been conquering the first 3 divine mountains. He lightly gripped his palm, and instantly, the origin power from the Tai chapter within Yi Chun formed a divine sword, which Yi Chun held in his hand. Yi Chun, holding the divine sword, stepped into the first layer of the fourth divine mountain's grand hall. As Yi Chun explored the fourth divine mountain, most god kings were still navigating the previous 3. Many were even stuck in the first 2 divine mountains. The first divine mountain, the mountain of calamity creating great demons, was manageable for the top 1,000 god king talents across the universe. However, the second divine mountain, the mountain of 10,000 swords great demons, posed problems for many god kings, who had to exert significant effort to conquer all 9 layers. Some were halted entirely or forced to retreat, unable to get past the great demons within. As these talented god kings progressed to the third divine mountain, facing the golden gongsby great demon, most fell into dangerous situations. Very few managed to trek past the third divine mountain. By the time Yi Chun reached the first layer of the fourth divine mountain, most of the strongest god kings still lingered in the 8th and 9th layers of the third mountain. Only Chan Qian and a few others, like Yi Chun, had entered the first layer of the fourth divine mountain. Upon entering the grand hall of the first layer of the fourth divine mountain, fierce winds howled as the hall transformed into a vast expanse. Soon, the cries of raptors echoed from the sky. Yi Chun looked up into the void, spotting a gigantic, ice-white creature with 3 heads, the terrifying flying demon swooping down from the supreme heavens towards him. Ice Extreme Source Beast. This was indeed the great demon of the fourth divine mountain, the Ice Extreme Source Beast. As this Ice Extreme Source Beast dove down, its enormous wings flapped, sending a bone-chilling wind downward, seemingly intending to freeze the entire world and completely freeze Yi Chun below. Yi Chun felt that without invoking his divine power for defense, even his extremely powerful physical body would be sealed by this Ice Extreme Source Beast. But Yi Chun was not one to sit and wait for death. With a boom, as the massive ice-sealing power of the Ice Extreme Source Beast approached, Yi Chun swung the divine sword formed by his starry origin power. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sword light swirled to form a violent sword blade storm against the ice seal's wind blade. Within this storm lay Yi Chun's incredibly formidable starry origin power, harnessed from 5 of the 7 stars he cultivated in the Tai chapter. The overwhelming starry origin power obliterated the ice-sealing wind blades, redirecting the killing force back toward the Ice Extreme Source Beast. However, this particular Ice Extreme Source Beast, despite being the weakest in the fourth divine mountain, was no easy target. Upon sensing danger, the Ice Extreme Source Beast swiftly dodged Yi Chen's divine sword attack. Then it opened its mouth wide, releasing a dazzling ice pearl from within. As the ice pearl emerged, an even more powerful ice-binding force swept across the heavens, and Yi Chen felt the terrifying cold rapidly infiltrating his very being. The ice pearl emitted by the Ice Extreme Source Beast aimed not just to freeze Yi Chen but to penetrate his body, utterly destroying everything within. But how could Yi Chen allow the Ice Extreme Source Beast to have its way? At the sensing of the more fearsome ice-sealing power, Yi Chen pointed, and a golden firebird flew forth from his fingertip. The golden firebird appeared unscathed by the fearsome power of the ice pearl from the Ice Extreme Source Beast. The golden firebird easily fluttered its wings, chirping merrily. This golden firebird bore extremely divine patterns on its wings, adorned with roaring golden flames, surpassing the ice pearl in divine marvel. This golden firebird was indeed the flame spirit formed from Yi Chen, refining the heavenly forbidden flame. The heavenly forbidden flame ranked second on the extreme heaven divine fire list. As soon as it appeared in Yi Chen's hand, it garnered the attention of numerous divine kingdom rulers and sovereigns in the starry sky waterfall space. Seeing the firelight from the golden firebird formed by the heavenly forbidden flame Yi Chen wielded, many sovereigns were astounded. That Yi Chen, within the God-King realm, actually refined the heavenly forbidden flame to such a level. With just the heavenly forbidden flame, Yi Chen could likely vanquish lower-ranked ordinary sovereigns instantly. The rulers and sovereigns of these divine kingdoms were not mistaken. Yi Chen had already refined about 30% of the heavenly forbidden flame, which was enough to annihilate an ordinary low-level sovereign. Bang! At this moment, faced with the threat of the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon, Yi Chen directly unleashed the heavenly forbidden flame. Whoosh! As soon as Yi Chen summoned the heavenly forbidden flame, the golden firebird formed by the flame chirped happily a few times before flying directly towards the ice pearl in the void. Even though the golden firebird appeared extremely small compared to the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon, at the moment of its appearance, the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon seemed to sense something was wrong and frantically charged at the ice pearl it had spat out. The Ice Extreme Primordial Demon moved swiftly, but the heavenly forbidden flame was even faster. Even though the ice pearl was closer to the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon, in an instant the heavenly forbidden flame reached the ice pearl. Then something astonishing happened. The golden firebird formed by the heavenly forbidden flame opened its mouth and swallowed the ice pearl into its body. Following that, the wings of the golden firebird, as if it had refined the ice pearl, were adorned with a few snow-white divine ice patterns amidst the dazzling fiery lines. After devouring the ice pearl, the golden firebird unhesitatingly swooped towards the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon. Bang! As if flames were falling upon snow and ice. The snow and ice were strong enough to extinguish the flames. But if the flames were stronger, they could incinerate the snow and ice. The Ice Extreme Primordial Demon on this first level was clearly no match for the heavenly forbidden flame. As the flame charged towards it, the demon sensed danger but couldn't dodge in time, and flames engulfed its body. In an instant, the entire Ice Extreme Primordial Demon was completely consumed by fire. After the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon was utterly incinerated, the golden firebird formed by the heavenly forbidden flame chirped happily a few times and flew back to Yi Chen. When it landed in Yi Chen's hand, it transformed into a cluster of fiercely burning golden flames. Seeing the strands of icy firelight still burning within the golden flames, as if this addition made the heavenly forbidden flame stronger, Yi Chen couldn't help but feel pleasantly surprised. I never expected that the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon in this fourth divine mountain could actually help cultivate the heavenly forbidden flame. The heavenly forbidden flame was indeed an extreme heaven-grade divine fire. If cultivated further, it might be able to transform into an even more powerful divine fire. Seeing that with the help of the ice pearl, the heavenly forbidden flame's killing power became even more extraordinary. Yi-Chun, his mind and spirit stirred, followed the newly appeared path to the second level of the fourth divine mountain and proceeded up. The second level, of course, also had an ice extreme primordial demon. Though this ice extreme primordial demon was stronger than the one on the first level, it still couldn't withstand Yi-Chun's heavenly forbidden flame. The heavenly forbidden flame once again incinerated the second ice extreme primordial demon and devoured another ice pearl. Yi-Chun continued his journey upwards through the higher levels of the fourth divine mountain. Relying on the heavenly forbidden flame, Yi-Chun made it effortlessly to the seventh level, but upon reaching the eighth level, Yi-Chun realized that the heavenly forbidden flame alone was not enough to overcome the ice extreme primordial demon guarding the eighth level. This eighth level ice extreme primordial demon's combat power was comparable to that of a low-level sovereign, and even among low-level sovereigns it was quite formidable. Evidently, in this level, most God Kings in the Star Domain Genius Battle God King Challenge couldn't get through unless they could defeat a low-level sovereign. As they witnessed Yi-Chun's challenge at the eighth level, many Divine Kingdom rulers were intensely focused on Yi-Chun. That Yi-Chun, the heavenly forbidden flame, is likely one of his strongest methods. Without a stronger method, he probably can't pass the eighth level of the fourth divine mountain. Many rulers speculated whether Yi-Chun had stronger methods. Indeed, Yi-Chun had stronger methods. Seeing that the heavenly forbidden flame could only hold a draw against the eighth level ice extreme primordial demon, Yi-Chun, without hesitation, summoned the starry origin power, this time unleashing all 7 starry origin powers. In an instant, with the combination of starry origin power and the heavenly forbidden flame, Yi-Chun directly slew the ice extreme primordial demon on this eighth level. Then, relying on these two great methods, Yi-Chun killed the ice extreme primordial demon on the ninth level, completely clearing the perilous fourth divine mountain. Bang! The next moment, when Yi-Chun appeared on the first level of the fifth divine mountain, even many great power holders from the ancestral god temple were taken aback. These great power holders hadn't expected Yi-Chun to have reached the fifth divine mountain so quickly, and seemingly with energy to spare. However, these power holders also knew that this time, no matter what, Yi-Chun wouldn't be able to get past the fifth divine mountain, and he might not even get through the first level of the fifth divine mountain. Because, within this fifth divine mountain, lurked the number 1 ranked most ferocious creature in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea, the God-devouring great demon. The wrath of the God-devouring was not something a God King could withstand. Chapter 11:10 Bloody Battle. The God-devouring great demon, the number 1 ranked monster in the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. Even the weakest God-devouring great demon placed in the first layer of the fifth divine mountain poses a major threat to the strongest group of divine kings in this universe-wide showdown of the Star Domain Genius Battle. We must be extremely careful. As the great power holder in the ancestral god temple watched Yi-Chun step into the fifth divine mountain, his mind and spirit were shaken. At the same moment, Yi-Chun, having just arrived at the fifth divine mountain, looked at the steel inscription explaining the new great demon, and felt his emotions fluctuate. Yi-Chun hadn't expected that the fifth divine mountain would involve battling the top-ranked monster from the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. God-devouring great demon. Just from the steel inscription's warnings to the divine kings participating in the Star Domain Genius Battle, it was clear how terrifying this God-devouring great demon was. The first 4 divine mountains never had such warnings. Emperor Liao said that not even the divine masters of the ancestral god temple can pass through the 6th divine mountain. Clearly, the monsters within the 6th divine mountain are even more terrifying, and perhaps they aren't just from the eastern edge of the cosmic sea, but from a much broader region and are even more fearsome. Given such beings, with my current god-king realm, even if my combat power can challenge a sovereign, it's still far too insufficient to handle them. This indicates that the 6th divine mountain is simply not a place we can tread right now. It seems very likely that I will have to stop at this 5th divine mountain, halting at the battle against this god-devouring great demon. What kind of person is Yi-Chun? Just from the hints on the steel and the earlier reminder from Emperor Liao, he already understood where his real challenge lies. However, even though Yi-Chun anticipated that the 5th divine mountain might be the toughest elimination point in this 1,000 to 100 contest of the Star Domain Genius Battle's Battle of the God Kings, even though he knew many other divine kings might find it difficult to pass even the fourth divine mountain. Reaching his current position guarantees entry into the top 100. Yi Chen didn't relax for a second. Having come this far, it's time to fight with all he's got. Even if he can't clear all 9 layers of the 5th divine mountain, he definitely has to try to see how far he can go. Starting from this first layer, with his mind and spirit stirred, Yi Chen's fighting spirit surged to its peak. He adjusted to his optimal battle state, stepped forward, and entered the main hall of the first layer of the 5th divine mountain. Boom! As soon as Yi Chen entered the main hall of the first layer, he heard the sound of extremely heavy footsteps coming from the depths of the hall. Boom! Boom! Each step of these footsteps felt like a thunderous strike weighing heavily on Yi Chen's heart. Yi Chen was strong enough. If it were a weaker divine king, the sound of these footsteps alone might cause many to cough up blood or be outright eliminated. The footsteps of the God-devouring great demon. Even before the God-devouring great demon appeared, just the thundering footsteps showcased its terrifying combat power. Listening to these extremely heavy footsteps approaching step by step, Yi Chen's gaze did not waver in the slightest. Come on. Yi Chen was already prepared for battle, just waiting for the moment the God-devouring great demon appears. Boom! 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 As the heavy footsteps continued for dozens of steps, each step growing more imposing and terrifying, Yi Chen finally saw the full form of the God-devouring great demon. This was a great demon only over 3 zhang tall. It was much smaller than the great demons Yi Chen had encountered earlier. Yet Yi Chen saw that it resembled a bear lion, with 3 distinct heads, its fur shimmering with divine gold and fire lights, and its body brimming with divine power to such a degree that Yi Chen could sense it even without engaging. This was undoubtedly a ferocious beast of immense power. Whoosh! Upon seeing the God-devouring great demon appear, Yi Chen didn't hesitate. Instantly, the combat power within him was unleashed, throwing a punch that seemed capable of shattering space directly toward the God-devouring great demon in front of him. Faced with Yi Chen's formidable punch, the God-devouring great demon seemed completely disdainful, not even bothering to block, allowing Yi Chen's strike to land. Yi Chen was waiting for the God-devouring great demon to relax at this moment. His punch indeed posed no threat to the God-devouring great demon, but at the moment of the demon's relaxation, 2 unparalleled killing forces were already swirling in Yi Chen's hands. This was the killing force of the starry origin power and the heavenly forbidden flame he obtained after passing the 4th divine mountain. Boom! The 2 forces combined, with the star power resonating at an extreme, as if capable of annihilating everything with the origin slash of the 7 great star origins on one side, and a golden flame that could burn endless things on the other. The 2 killing forces instantly struck the God-devouring great demon, too late for it to respond. The God-devouring great demon hadn't expected that Yi Chen's seemingly ordinary punch would suddenly transform into a more terrifying attack. Although the God-devouring great demon possessed immense combat power, its speed was its weakness. In this moment of carelessness, it couldn't evade and was directly hit by Yi Chen's 2 killing forces. If this were the ice extreme primordial demon within the 4th divine mountain, in such a moment of heedlessness, it would definitely have been instantly killed by Yi Chen. However, this God-devouring great demon truly deserves its reputation as the most ferocious beast of the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. Even the weakest one on this first level, when caught off guard by Yi Chen's attack, only suffered minor injuries, appearing largely unharmed. In fact, after being struck by Yi Chen, this God-devouring great demon became exceptionally enraged. It roared madly, and the mysterious golden and fiery lights on its body seemed to ignite. Its combat power soared and soared, nearly reaching that of an average 4-star sovereign level. 4-star sovereign level. Even an ordinary 4-star sovereign is considered mid-tier, with few god kings across the universe capable of fighting a 4-star divine venerable. After all, simply being able to contend with a 2-star sovereign would place one at the forefront of the star domain god king ranking. No wonder the 5th divine mountain is considered impossible for god kings to conquer. The great demon on this first level is truly terrifying. The enraged God-devouring great demon no longer showed any disdain for Yi Chun. It only wanted to kill the God King in front of it to avenge its injuries. Boom! In its fury, the God-devouring great demon's speed increased dramatically, and suddenly, a long staff appeared in its hand. Holding the staff, it swung down towards Yi Chun. This staff embodied the terrifying combat power of the God-devouring great demon and contained a fearsome staff skill. In an instant, it encompassed the area within 10,000 feet around Yi Chun, and as the staff swung down, countless staff shadows seemed to fall on Yi Chun. Seeing the God-devouring great demon truly begin its assault, Yi Chun did not hold back. Boom! The starry origin power within Yi Chun surged with strength. This included not only the starry origin power he cultivated from the Tai chapter but also the power he absorbed from the Starvine Divine Light during the Stellar Domain Genius battle. All the starry origin power was infused into Yi Chun. It didn't stop there. Yi Chun also unleashed the terrifying combat power of the Eternal God Body. The 5 great divine patterns of the Eternal God Body shimmered, and regardless of whether it was an offensive or defensive method, Yi Chun activated them all. Yi Chun even channeled the killing force of the heavenly forbidden flame into himself. With these 3 powerful methods fortified, Yi Chun also transformed into a fierce beast, charging directly at the terrifying staff shadows of the God-devouring great demon. In an instant, the rampaging Yi Chun clashed fiercely with the raging God-devouring great demon. Their battle unfolded like a cataclysmic upheaval. Fortunately, the battle hall on the first level of the 5th Divine Mountain was protected by a spatial ban from the Ancestral God Temple, preventing the combat between the man and the demon from shattering this special space. If Yi Chun and the God-devouring great demon fought outside, they would surely destroy vast expanses of the star continent. Boom! When Yi Chun combined the immensely powerful killing forces of the Eternal God Body, starry origin power, and the heavenly forbidden flame against the God-devouring great demon, surprisingly, Yi Chun gained the upper hand. Yi Chun was actually suppressing this formidable beast, the top predator of the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. This situation not only astounded the sovereigns and sovereign lords within the starry sky waterfall space but also left the great power holders of the Ancestral God Temple deeply impressed. This Yi Chun, he carries a great destiny. He's merely a God King and has cultivated so many formidable cultivation techniques, elevating his combat power to such a degree. It seems that the great demon on the 1st level can't stop him. Perhaps the demons on the 2nd and 3rd levels will truly put him to a bloody test. Boom! As the great power holders of the Ancestral God Temple marveled, within the space where Yi Chun was battling the God-devouring great demon, Yi Chun let out a powerful roar, and his body suddenly expanded dozens of times. His overwhelming killing force formed into 2 giant hands that captured the God-devouring great demon. No matter how much the God-devouring great demon struggled, it couldn't escape Yi Chun's grasp. Then, Yi Chun's giant hands pulled sharply, tearing the God-devouring great demon in 2. Boom! Blood splattered all over Yi Chun, who simply threw the 2 halves of the beast's body to the ground. Seeing the stairs leading to the 2nd level, Yi Chun stepped forward into the 2nd level of the 5th Divine Mountain. Boom! As soon as Yi Chun stepped into the 2nd level, the God-devouring great demon of the 2nd level instantly sensed his arrival. This new God-devouring great demon immediately flew out of the passage to confront Yi Chun. What surprised Yi Chun even more was that this God-devouring great demon took the initiative to attack him first. Clearly, having defeated the God-devouring great demon on the 1st level and arriving on the 2nd, Yi Chun had made the 2nd level beast more cautious. This God-devouring great demon was ready to fight with all its might against Yi Chun, and Yi Chun had no fear of the demon's initial assault. Boom! 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 Yi Chun's 3 killing forces surged forth, while the endless divine source within him frantically replenished his combat power. Yi Chun once again engaged in a bloody battle with the God-devouring great demon of the 2nd level. Chapter 11:11 Hidden Legacy. Yi Chun unleashed the combat power of the 3 major killing forces, reaching a terrifying extreme. It was the starry origin power condensed from the 7 stars of the primordial star scriptures Tai chapter, along with the starry origin power of the star vines, combined with the 5 great divine patterns of the eternal God body, and the killing force of the heavenly forbidden flame. Even though the God-devouring great demon of the second layer was much more formidable than the first layer, it still wasn't a match for Yi Chun, who had activated the 3 major killing forces. After hundreds of rounds with the God-devouring great demon, Yi Chun ultimately slew the second God-devouring great demon in the arena again. Of course, although the result was Yi Chun's victory, this battle turned into a genuine bloodbath. In the end, Yi Chun killed the God-devouring great demon, but the God-devouring great demon also injured Yi Chun. This was the first time Yi Chun got injured since the beginning of the Star Domain Genius Battle's Cosmic Grand Showdown. When the path to the 3rd layer of the 5th Divine Mountain opened, Yi Chun did not choose to go directly to the 3rd layer. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the 2nd layer. The entire journey through the 7 Divine Mountains was a competition of 1,000 into 100, lasting for 3 full days. Yi Chun had spent a very short time reaching the 2nd layer of the 5th Divine Mountain, so he certainly was not in a rush to continue exploring further. From assessing the combat power increase of the God-devouring great demon on the 2nd layer, Yi Chun could guess that the 3rd layer's God-devouring great demon would be even more terrifying, so much so that it might even suppress his combat power with the 3 major killing forces. Given this situation, Yi Chun naturally chose to first recover from his injuries on the 2nd layer, and then cultivate for a while before continuing his journey. Yi Chun still had many chapters behind the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound to cultivate. After approximately half an hour of recovery and cultivation, Yi Chun stood up again and headed towards the 3rd layer of the 5th Divine Mountain. As Yi Chun ventured deeper into the Divine Mountain, striving to reach the higher levels, other Divine Kings were also striving to explore the 7 Divine Mountains. Qianqian and Zhongyao also stepped into the 5th Divine Mountain just like Yi Chun. When Yi Chun began exploring the 3rd layer of the 5th Divine Mountain, Qianqian had reached the 2nd layer of the 5th Divine Mountain, and Zhongyao had reached the 1st layer. Surprisingly, following Yi Chun, Qianqian, and Zhongyao, it was not Moko Yi who initially ranked 1st on the Star Domain God King ranking. As of now, Moko Yi hadn't even stepped foot into the 5th Divine Mountain. He was still on the 9th layer of the 4th Divine Mountain. However, it wasn't that Moko Yi lacked the capability to venture into the 5th Divine Mountain. By this time, the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon within the 9th layer of the 4th Divine Mountain had already been slain by Moko Yi, and the Teleportation Divine Formation leading from the 4th to the 5th Divine Mountain had opened. If he wished to enter the 5th Divine Mountain, Moko Yi could easily do so. However, at that moment, Moko Yi decisively opted to remain within the 9th layer of the 4th Divine Mountain, displaying an exceptionally joyful smile on his face. A great harvest! I never expected that in this 1,000 to 100 battle, exploring the 7 Divine Mountains, I would obtain such an astounding reward. After killing the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon within the 9th layer of the 4th Divine Mountain, I sensed an enormously powerful cultivation technique from its corpse. This set of cultivation techniques was actually a reward placed in this competition by one of the cosmic emperors among the powerful figures of the ancestral god temple who designed the Star Domain Genius Battle. Moreover, upon obtaining the cultivation technique, I also received the divine sense of the cosmic emperor who left behind the cultivation technique. That cosmic emperor of the ancestral god temple said that obtaining the cultivation technique in this 1,000 to 100 competition, within the 7 Divine Mountains, is a huge serendipity. This kind of serendipity might not be encountered by anyone in this Star Domain Genius Battle. This kind of serendipity is unrelated to the results of the battle. It was randomly placed within this Star Domain Genius Battle and can only be obtained by one with sufficient opportunity. Heaven, if it's truly as the Cosmic Emperor who left behind the cultivation technique stated, I might be the only participant in this Star Domain Genius Battle to have a significant harvest in this competition. Even Yi Chun hasn't encountered such a harvest. Thinking of this, Moko Ye's mind and spirit were greatly stirred. Moko Ye naturally chose to earnestly cultivate this cultivation technique within the 9th layer of the 4th Divine Mountain, enhancing his strength before venturing into the 5th Divine Mountain. Previously, in each battle, Moko Ye had been suppressed almost to suffocation by Yi Chun. Initially disdainful of Yi Chun, Moko Yi never expected that he, a genius ranking first on the Star Domain God King ranking, would be continually suppressed by Yi Chun in the Star Domain Genius Battle God King competition. Regardless of whether it was climbing star vines or the Aurora Flush, he could not achieve better results than Yi Chun. Even with the subsequent Leap God Gate, he entered the Starry Sky waterfall slower than Yi Chun. Falling behind in one round after another certainly left Moko Yi feeling extremely stifled. However, Moko Yi must also admit that Yi Chun was indeed powerful. Moko Yi even faintly felt that although his real strength lay in combat, though he hadn't fought Yi Chun yet, in his most adept area of combat, he still stood a good chance of being defeated by Yi Chun. This pressure even left Moko Yi feeling unsettled in his mind and spirit while exploring the 7 divine mountains. Now, suddenly obtaining a tremendous opportunity left by a strong cosmic emperor from the ancestral god temple within the 9th layer of the 4th divine mountain. With just the initial cultivation of it, Moko Yi felt the power of this cultivation technique. Moko Yi even sensed that this cultivation technique was more formidable than any he had cultivated before. Chapter 11-12 Hidden Legacy _2. This naturally brought Moko Yi to the peak of excitement. Once he mastered parts of this cultivation technique, even without fully grasping it, it would provide immense help in traversing the latter divine mountains, and even give Moko Yi the confidence to truly defeat Yi Chun in battle. Thinking of personally defeating Yi Chun, and completely suppressing Yi Chun in the 7 divine mountains, Moko Yi's essence, chi, and spirit reached their peak. He fully immersed himself in the cultivation of this new cultivation technique. In the 3 days of this competition, he aimed to comprehend this cultivation technique to a strong enough degree to continue advancing through the divine mountains. Bang! 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 When Moko Yi began to cultivate this cultivation technique, a strange and powerful glow surged from within him, enveloping his entire being. Higher above the Starry Sky waterfall, in the space where the great power holders of the ancestral god temple resided. At this moment, the divine masters, overlords, and cosmic emperors of the ancestral god temple were all focused on the few who were leading in the 7 divine mountains challenge. Those who had been eliminated, or were still struggling through the first 3 divine mountains, were given little attention by the great power holders of the ancestral god temple. To them, what mattered most were those who could secure a top 10 position in the battle of the true gods, the battle of the god kings, and the battle of the divine venerables. Many strong figures in the ancestral god temple were focusing their attention on a few individuals. These included those at the true god realm and the divine venerable realm. As for those at the god king realm, the strong of the ancestral god temple mainly focused on Yi Chun, Chanqian, Zhangyao, and Moko Yi. Seeing Yi Chun, Chanqian, and Zhangyao having reached the 5th divine mountain, and Yi Chun even advancing to the 3rd layer of the 5th divine mountain, the great power holders of the ancestral god temple nodded secretly. However, many eyes were focused on Moko Yi, who was meditating in the 9th layer of the 4th divine mountain. A master of the ancestral god temple spoke. Moko Yi is quite fortunate to have obtained a legacy cultivation technique within the 4th divine mountain. This cultivation technique is one of the few legacy techniques specially prepared by Yulon Great Emperor for this generation's geniuses. And as Yulon Great Emperor stated, without sufficient fate, not even one legacy may appear in this stellar domain genius battle. It seems now that Moko Yi, who was already strong, can really achieve even more remarkable feats with this cultivation technique. The words of this overlord made the other overlords nod in agreement. Evidently, many strong figures of the ancestral god temple knew the rules Yulon Great Emperor set for the legacy cultivation techniques. However, they were unaware that the cosmic emperors in the field were internally thinking. Although Yulon Great Emperor stated that not even one legacy might appear in the stellar domain genius battle, we, who have also stepped into the cosmic emperor realm, know that Yulon Great Emperor is very invested in this battle. He couldn't possibly allow only one legacy to appear. Now, Moko Yi is merely the first to obtain a legacy. It's known that the first appearing legacy is usually the least superior. Perhaps more people will encounter better legacies later on. It's uncertain where the more precious legacies have been placed by Yulon Great Emperor, who designed this stellar domain genius battle, or by what means contestants will obtain them. It's unknown whether they remain within the 1 out of 1,000 phase in the 7 divine mountains, or placed in later phases like the 1 out of 100 or even the top 10 ranking battle. The thoughts of these cosmic emperors were unknown to others, not even to the divine masters of the ancestral god temple, let alone Mokoyi. Mokoyi already believed he hit a stroke of tremendous luck, obtaining a world-class legacy from the smallest chance. And this legacy was specifically designed by the Cosmic Emperor for talented individuals of their low realm, being incredibly powerful yet perfectly suited for him. Mokoyi, after 2 days of arduous cultivation, felt his combat power had increased by a vast level. Bang! With substantial gains and realizing he lacked time to further elevate his strength, Mokoyi finally stood up from the 9th layer of the 4th divine mountain. He confidently stepped into the teleportation divine formation, transporting himself to the 5th divine mountain. Upon arriving at the 5th divine mountain, Mokoyi encountered the great demon within. It was the god-devouring great demon. Mokoyi, already possessing extraordinary combat power, and having acquired a powerful legacy, swiftly defeated the god-devouring great demon at the 1st and 2nd layers, advancing to the 3rd layer. At the 3rd layer of the 5th divine mountain, Mokoyi felt true pressure. However, he managed to push through the 3rd layer. Ultimately, after a fierce battle in the 4th layer, he successfully slew the god-devouring great demon there, advancing to the 5th layer before finally being defeated, ending his participation in the 1100 phase. Upon exiting, Mokoyi noticed that, like him, other god kings who had completed the challenge had been teleported to a temporary location, awaiting the end of everyone's competition. Simultaneously, a giant light screen appeared in front, displaying everyone's performance results. When Mokoyi arrived, he glanced at it and, upon seeing that Zhongyao, Chanqian, and 2 other formidable god kings from earlier rounds had all finished, he was quite pleased. Yet, Mokoyi couldn't see Yi Chun, leaving a lingering unease in his heart. Subsequently, Mokoyi searched for the performance results on the light screen. Upon seeing that Chanqian had reached the 4th layer of the 5th divine mountain, Zhongyao the 3rd layer, and the other 2 formidable dark horse god kings also only the 3rd layer, none of their scores surpassing his, Mokoyi breathed a long sigh of relief. At least in this competition, he had completely suppressed even someone like Chanqian. However, when Mokoyi searched for Yi Chen's name and finally found his result, he was utterly shocked. The light screen showed that Yi Chun was also advancing through the 5th layer of the 5th divine mountain, at the same level where Mokoyi had ended. This left Mokoyi extremely astonished. It's important to know that he relied on the newly acquired legacy cultivation technique from the Cosmic Emperor of the Ancestral God Temple to reach the 5th layer of the 5th divine mountain. According to the Emperor, it was improbable for Yi Chun to obtain a legacy like that. Under these circumstances, Yi Chun reaching the 5th layer was beyond astonishing to Mokoyi. However, Mokoyi felt somewhat relieved knowing at least Yi Chun hadn't surpassed his score. If Yi Chun ended his competition at the 5th layer too, perhaps he reached it before Yi Chun and might still be slightly better. As this thought crossed Mokoyi's mind, he suddenly heard exclamations of surprise. Following, Mokoyi saw on the light screen that Yi Chen's name was now illuminated, showing that Yi Chun had entered into the 6th layer of the 5th divine mountain. Yi Chun hadn't stopped at the 5th layer like him but had broken through to the even higher 6th layer. This was something Mokoyi found unimaginably hard to believe. Chapter 11:13. God-Devouring Transformation. It wasn't just Mokoyi who was astounded. At this moment, in a special space higher up in the starry sky waterfall, countless sovereigns of the divine kingdoms, the sovereigns, and even the great power holders of the ancestral god temple were all shocked beyond measure. Others could not see Yi Chen's battle, only that he had progressed to the 6th level of the 5th divine mountain. This result left them amazed. Yet the sovereigns of the divine kingdoms, the sovereigns, and the great power holders of the ancestral god temple saw clearly how Yi Chun managed to reach this stage. Yi Chun, relying on the methods of the eternal god body's 5 great divine patterns, the heavenly forbidden flame technique, and the power of starry origin, directly breached the first 2 levels of the 5 divine mountains. This alone already made the sovereigns of the divine kingdoms and the great power holders of the ancestral god temple marvel at Yi Chen's formidable methods. Subsequently, after cultivating for over half an hour on the 2nd level, Yichun entered the third level of the fifth divine mountain, and once again Yichun unleashed a new technique. This new technique was surprisingly the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound that Yichun had just acquired earlier. In the preceding competitions, the sovereigns of the divine kingdoms and the great power holders of the ancestral god temple all knew that Yichun had received all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound technique and had already completed the cultivation of the first 12 volumes. However, during Yichun's battle with the god-devouring great demon on the third level of the fifth divine mountain, Yichun unleashed an even later volume of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. The divine masters who had cultivated the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound in the ancestral god temple discovered that the volume of the technique was already the 21st volume. This meant that in the half-hour meditation on the second level, Yichun had newly comprehended at least 9 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. The Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, a powerful cultivation technique from the ancestral god temple, a secret technique practiced by the divine masters. The difficulty of cultivating this technique was well understood by the great power holders of the ancestral god temple. The Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, one could say, the further you cultivate, the harder it becomes, and the combat power becomes even stronger. Originally, Yichun being able to comprehend 12 volumes of the cultivation technique so quickly during the Aurora Flush was already astonishing the divine masters of the ancestral god temple. Now, Yichun had astonishingly comprehended beyond the 21st volume of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound in such a short period of cultivation time and managed to wield the killing power of the 21st volume of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound in the battle with the god-devouring great demon. This, of course, left the great power holders of the ancestral god temple in utter astonishment. This simply surpassed the comprehension power of many divine masters. When they saw Yichun relying on the more advanced techniques of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, along with his originally formidable trio of techniques, once again slaying the god-devouring great demons in the third and even fourth levels of the fifth divine mountain and breaking into the fifth level, the experts from the ancestral god temple already knew that Yichun would definitely be one of the most dazzling geniuses in this stellar domain genius battle. Many masters voiced their thoughts. This Yichun, his comprehension power is so extraordinary. No wonder he can master so many techniques to such a terrifying extent. If given more time, perhaps, he might truly succeed in cultivating all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. Unfortunately, he hasn't received the inheritance left by the Yulan Great Emperor specifically for these talents in the stellar domain genius battle like Moko Yi did. Otherwise, with his comprehension power, he would likely master another formidable technique, raising his power far above Moko Yi. Even a cosmic emperor spoke up. This Yichun, with such talent, and able to harness the power of starry origin, likely has already obtained an inheritance not inferior to the level of the Yulan Great Emperor. And that kind of inheritance, unlike the fast-track type that Moko Yi obtained, is a more stable and enduring one with impressive divine might. Even if this Yichun didn't get the Yulan Great Emperor's cultivation technique, he has already surpassed Moko Yi by far. The special things we prepared for the top 10 ranking battle might only truly shine in his hands. The words of this cosmic emperor made other cosmic emperors nod in agreement. A true strong person does not lack inheritance. In their hearts, Yichun's value far surpassed that of 10 Moko Yi. Another cosmic emperor also smiled. I really look forward to seeing more of the competition. In this round, Qianqian has been making efforts to progress, but after reaching the fourth level of the fifth divine mountain, she apparently didn't want to use her trump card and stopped moving forward. Otherwise, Qianqian's level would definitely be higher than Moko Yi. After all, Qianqian doesn't lack cosmic emperor level inheritance. Together with the extraordinary Jiang Yao and the other 2 god kings, as well as Moko Yi who just received an inheritance, and Yichun who seems to have no visible limit. Just the battle of the god kings is already enough to watch. Not to mention Long Li, Long Ning, and others in the battle of the divine venerables, the talented true god in the battle of the true gods. The upcoming battles of the top 100 and top 10 are the times when they will truly bring out all their cards, and truly determine who is higher or lower. Many of the great power holders of the ancestral god temple were already looking forward to the upcoming competitions. However, the sovereigns of various divine kingdoms still focused on Yi Chun, wanting to see how far Yi Chun could go. When Moko Yi finished cultivating and was eliminated after attempting to break through the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain, Yi Chun was in the 5th level furthering his cultivation. At this moment in this competition where 1,000 advanced to 100, in the battle of the God Kings, only Yi Chun remained as the sole God King still prevailing. Chapter 11:14 God-Devouring Transformation _2. When Yi Chun entered the 6th level of the 5th divine mountain, all the sovereigns and lords of the various great divine kingdoms knew that Yi Chun's cultivation achievements this time would be even greater. After all, in the previous levels, Yi Chun had only spent a little over half an hour and already mastered 9 volumes of the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound. This time, in the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain, Yi Chun had cultivated for dozens of hours. Surely he will have even greater gains. When they saw Yi Chun step into the 6th level of the 5th divine mountain, almost half of the divine kingdom lords focused their eyes on him. The remaining few also kept an eye on the battles of others in the true God and divine venerable areas while occasionally glancing towards Yi Chun. Not only these sovereigns and lords, even the God Kings like Jiangyao, Chanqian, and Moko Yi, who had already completed this round of competition, were also following Yi Chun's progress closely. The spotlighted Yi Chun had now arrived at the 6th level of the 5th divine mountain. At this moment, Yi Chun's fighting spirit showed no signs of diminishing and was still rising continuously. The more he fought, the more Yi Chun realized that the heart of driving through knowing he couldn't conquer all 7 divine mountains, but striving anyway, kept his state of mind in an excellent condition. Yi Chun sensed that comprehending the Great Sun Pitha divine sound came as naturally as a fish in water. In the earlier 2nd level, he spent over half an hour advancing the Great Sun Pitha divine sound from the 12th to the 21st volume. Just in the 5th level, Yi Chun spent more time but managed to advance it from the 21st to the 27th volume in one breakthrough. Only the last 9 volumes remained unmastered. Even though he only advanced 6 volumes this time, Yi Chun felt that the Great Sun Pitha divine sound became more difficult as it progressed, enhancing his combat power more significantly. Moreover, after failing to comprehend the 28th volume of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound, Yi Chun specifically refined some divine treasures obtained from the divine sect within the Starry Sky Waterfall during his time in the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain. Yi Chun now had many more techniques at his disposal. Besides, Yi Chun had an ultimate technique yet to be used, the Taiyu chapter of the primordial star scripture. Even without using the combat power of the Taiyu chapter, Yi Chun was absolutely confident of advancing to even higher levels. In the 6th level space, Yi Chun faced the approaching God-devouring great demon head-on. This battle was even bloodier and more terrifying than the previous ones. The God-devouring great demon in the 6th level of the 5th divine mountain had a combat power reaching the dreadful ordinary 5-star sovereign level. This time, Yi Chun relied on his eternal god body, heavenly forbidden flame, starry origin power, the full combat power of the Great Sun Pitha divine sound, and used 2 divine treasures obtained from the Starry Sky Waterfall to finally conquer the 6th level. Boom! Yi Chun stepped directly into the 7th level of the 5th divine mountain. As Yi Chun's score rose another level, all the God Kings focusing on his performance gasped. The 6th divine mountain, even the divine master of the Cosmic Sea Ancestral God Temple couldn't conquer it. Could Yi Chun, in God King realm, finish the 5th divine mountain and enter the 6th divine mountain? It should be known that even Moko Yi, the best performer in the battle of the God Kings, only advanced to the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain. Others like Chanqian and Jiangyao didn't surpass 5 levels either, indicating the difficulty of breaching the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain. Now, Yi Chun not only passed the 5th level but also advanced through the 6th, and astonishingly entered the 7th level of the 5th divine mountain, causing extreme panic among the other God Kings. Especially Moko Yi, who knew the horror of the God-devouring great demon in the 5th level of the 5th divine mountain. Even after learning formidable cultivation techniques, he was completely no match for the 5th level God-devouring great demon. Now that Yi Chun advanced 2 more levels than him, Moko Yi found it hard to believe. Could it be that Yi Chun received the inheritance from that great emperor as well? Moko Yi speculated. But even with the inheritance, His combat power shouldn't be this terrifying. Zhang Yao watched Yi Chen's performance and showed a sweet smile. This time, although Zhang Yao only progressed to the 3rd level of the 5th Divine Mountain, it wasn't her maximum abilities. Zhang Yao knew that advancing to the 3rd level definitely ensured her spot in the top 100, and she hadn't reached the time to showcase her full combat prowess yet. Zhang Yao was also aware that even though Yi Chen reached the 7th level of the 5th Divine Mountain, he hadn't yet exerted all his combat capabilities. Qianqian glanced at Yi Chen's score. Her eyes glinted as she pondered about his achievements. As someone closest to Yi Chen, Zhang Yao naturally guessed correctly. Even stepping into the 7th level of the 5th Divine Mountain, Yi Chen hadn't released the final trump card, the combat power of the Taiyu chapter of the Primordial Star Scripture. Within the 7th level, when facing a new God-devouring great demon, Yi Chen finally sensed his limit. This God-devouring great demon employed a new secret technique, God-devouring transformation, completely suppressing Yi Chen from the beginning. Yi Chen unleashed all his combat techniques except the Taiyu chapter and fought for thousands of moves against the God-devouring great demon, with Yi Chen left bloodstained, and the God-devouring great demon suffering only minor injuries. This realization showed Yi Chen that without deploying the techniques of the Taiyu chapter, he absolutely couldn't break through this level. Finally, as Yi Chen looked at the God-devouring great demon before him, his mind and spirit flickered. The 7th level of the 5th Divine Mountain. It is enough. If I use the power of the Taiyu chapter, advancing through the 7th level isn't a problem, but I'd likely halt at the 8th or 9th level, unable to enter the 6th Divine Mountain, since not even the Divine Master of the Ancestral God Temple could breach the 6th Divine Mountain. This is merely a battle to transform 1,000 competitors into 100. Knowing my limit, it's time to stop. Even though Yi Chen had resolved not to reveal the ultimate technique, he hadn't completely given up on fighting. He aimed to use every method and battle against the God-devouring great demon till the last moment. Yi Chen knew he shouldn't worry about injuries, just like every time the checkpoint ends. The Ancestral God Temple restores the competitor's conditions. Even battling against the God-devouring great demon till elimination, he'd be fully restored post-elimination. Given this scenario, fighting to the end was the only way. This determination made Yi Chen fight with all his strength. Due to this effort, Yi Chen managed to severely wound the God-devouring great demon in the 7th level with his final struggles, although initially he had only inflicted minor damages. Despite being eliminated eventually, Yi Chen's battle scenes deeply etched in the minds of countless divine kingdom lords, sovereigns, and great power holders of the Ancestral God Temple. Yi Chen, by advancing to the 7th level of the 5th Divine Mountain, concluded his match, wrapped up his 1,000 to 100 battle. Except for Yi Chen himself, nobody realized that at the exact moment he was eliminated, even the Ancestral God Temple power holder who placed the great demon in the Divine Mountain didn't know Yi Chen had received a mysterious cultivation technique in his mind. God-devouring transformation. This was indeed the powerful secret technique the God-devouring great demon used to finally defeat Yi Chen in the 7th level. And it seemed to be more comprehensive than the move employed by the God-devouring great demon in the 7th level. God-devouring transformation. The exclusive secret technique belonging to the God-devouring great demon clan had moved into Yi Chen's mind, and whether it was transferred by the God-devouring great demon or Yi Chen touched upon a unique fortune to acquire it remains a mystery. Chapter 11:15. Top 100 Grand Cycle Battle. As Yi Chen finished his expedition across the 7 Divine Mountains, the Stellar Domain Genius Battle God King War's transition from 1,000 to 100 contestants also came to an end. The top 100 Divine Kings from the Mountain Challenge clearly appeared on the light screen, visible to every participant and the audience outside. However, although the Battle of the God Kings had ended, the Battle of the True Gods concluded even earlier, yet the Battle of the Divine Venerables had yet to be completed. Everyone was still waiting for the final results of the Divine Venerable War, transitioning from 1,000 to 100. Yi Chen and the Divine Kings couldn't see the situation of the Divine Venerable battle, yet Yi Chen had immense trust in Long Li, whom he cared about deeply. Naturally, he wasn't worried about Long Li being eliminated in this contest. Standing with Zhang Yao, Yi Chen awaited the conclusion of Long Li's Divine Venerable battle while examining the God-devouring transformation secret technique that had just entered his mind. God-devouring transformation, a special secret technique of the God-devouring Great Demon Clan. Why did it appear in my mind? Yi-Chun couldn't quite understand. The God-devouring Great Demon ranks as the #1 terrifying creature of the eastern edge of the cosmic sea, more fearsome than the Ice Extreme Primordial Demon, which ranks within the top 10 there and guards the 4th divine mountain. The High Cultivation Ice Extreme Primordial Demon can kill Overlord-level beings, let alone the God-devouring Great Demon. The most formidable of the God-devouring Great Demon Clan possibly could even slay a cosmic emperor. Having a few of these great demons brought to the Starry Sky Waterfall demonstrated the immense power of the ancestral God Temple. Yet the clan's secret techniques were probably not easily obtained even by the ancestral God Temple. Yi-Chun distinctly felt that this God-devouring transformation secret technique being transmitted to his mind was unrelated to the ancestral God Temple. It likely had a special connection to his battle with the God-devouring Great Demon. Nevertheless, Yi-Chun couldn't figure out what this connection was. Not understanding it, Yi-Chun stopped pondering further. Just from the earlier battle with the God-devouring Great Demon on the 7th layer, Yi-Chun sensed the fearsome nature of the God-devouring transformation technique. Plus, the version in his mind seemed even more comprehensive than the moves the God-devouring Great Demon used. Getting a new powerful secret technique was certainly something Yi-Chun welcomed. Find time to train in this secret technique as well. Coming to the Starry Sky Waterfall to partake in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Cosmic Grand Showdown. Meeting talents from various divine kingdoms of this universe, particularly the big shots from the ancestral God Temple, Yi-Chun realized his future stage would no longer be in the Mountain Divine Nation. Securing a top 10 position in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle God King War meant being brought by the ancestral God Temple to the mysterious Primal Beginning universe, which was inevitable. Whether exploring the infamously perilous Primal Beginning universe or going to the Cosmic Sea later, and even facing the Starry Sky Demon that threatens the Cosmic Sea in the future, all of these demanded Yi-Chun to become much stronger. Yi-Chun naturally hoped for more diverse means. The strongest primordial star scripture Taiyu chapter was still constantly accumulating, and other techniques needed to be trained and enhanced together. Feeling the new God-devouring transformation secret technique in his mind, Yi-Chun discovered the difficulty of its cultivation seemed higher than the later volumes of Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound, likely requiring extreme effort from him to master. While Yi-Chun was studying the God-devouring transformation, not long after, the transition from 1,000 to 100 contestants in the Divine Venerable battle also came to an end. The Divine Venerable represents a realm higher than the God King. The strongest talents in the Divine Venerable battle are, of course, more formidable than those in the God King battle. Just from observing Long Li, Yi-Chun knew he, in the God King realm, couldn't compare to Long Li in the immortal Divine Venerable realm. It's not an exaggeration to say that Long Li's current strength could instantly defeat Yi-Chun. Back when Yi-Chun and Long Li sparred on the original Spirit Source Star, Yi-Chun could sense Long Li's current combat power probably surpassed that of many 9-star sovereigns. Given Long Li's fearsome nature, others ranking at the top of the Divine Venerable battle naturally also possessed the strength to defeat ordinary high-level sovereigns. Even though Yi-Chun can defeat 5-star sovereigns and rely on the primordial star scripture Taiyu chapter to defeat ordinary 6-star sovereigns, these are merely mid-level sovereigns, not reaching high-level sovereign status. Evidently, the Divine Venerable battle across the 7 Divine Mountains, the deepest level of the Divine Mountain Challenge, is certainly more formidable than Yi-Chun, who topped the God King battle. Indeed, when the results of the Divine Venerable battle were announced, everyone was surprised. In the Divine Venerable battle, Long Li achieved an unbelievable feat by advancing to the 5th layer of the 6th Divine Mountain, astonishing countless people. Remember, many divine masters from the ancestral God Temple only reached the 6th Divine Mountain. Yet Long Li, in the Divine Venerable realm, managed to enter the 6th Divine Mountain and reach such a high level. Of course, besides Long Li, several other Divine Venerables also entered the 6th Divine Mountain. Ranking first on the Star Domain Divine Venerable list, Long Ning from the Longshan Divine Kingdom reached the 3rd layer of the 6th Divine Mountain, achieving equally outstanding results. The other Divine Venerables entering the 6th Divine Mountain mostly stayed on the first 2 layers. Certainly, the number of divine venerables reaching the 8th and 9th layers of the 5th divine mountain was significantly higher. Even if Yi Chen's potential compared to most divine venerables in the divine venerable battle and the top divine venerables was not weak or even stronger, his realm was still one level lower, and in terms of combat power, he couldn't match the top extraordinary genius divine venerables in this stellar domain genius battle cosmic grand showdown. With the divine venerable battle concluded, the transition from 1000 to 100 in the three major realms was finally complete. The top 100 in each of the three major realms were brought back to the second floor of the Void God Temple. The first floor of the Void God Temple had the preliminary extreme battle against the ancient Tuo, reducing 1000 to 100 and had already ended. The second floor of the Void God Temple, the 7 Divine Mountain Challenge, transitioning from 1000 to 100, finally concluded as well. The top 100 from the three major realms were chosen. These individuals would advance to the third floor of the Void God Temple for the upcoming transition from 100 to 10. As the top 100 from the three major realms moved to the victory zone, the eliminated true gods, divine kings, and divine venerables all looked at those still in the final battle of the stellar domain genius battle cosmic grand showdown, filled with admiration and envy. The majority of these gazes were focused on the most outstanding individuals, concentrated on Yi Chen, Long Li, and the others. Even the top 100 occasionally glanced at Long Li and the others. The recent challenge of the 7 great divine mountains nearly pushed everyone's combat power to the limit, revealing their true strength. Even though some had hidden abilities, much was proven. Especially Long Li, who managed to reach the 5th level of the 6th divine mountain. This certainly shocked countless people. Even the gazes of many divine venerables had completely changed when looking at her. Amidst the countless gazes, Long Li was indifferent. She walked up to Yi Chen and gently held Yi Chen's other hand. Seeing Long Li and Jiang Yao standing on Yi Chen's left and right, countless talents envied Yi Chen immensely. If previously, these talents merely envied Yi Chen for winning the admiration of such two beautiful divine maidens, now they were even more envious of Yi Chen, envious of his two divine maidens who were so formidable. Jiang Yao was indeed extraordinary among the god kings. Long Li was even more exceptional among the divine venerables. Heaven. Yi Chen had actually won the simultaneous admiration of two such remarkable divine maidens, which made countless people hold him in high esteem. Yi Chen was already accustomed to the numerous gazes focused on him. At this moment, Yi Chen was more curious about the great demon in the 6th divine mountain that was rumored to be able to block even the divine masters of the ancestral god temple. When Yi Chen inquired about it with Long Li, Jiang Yao also looked at Long Li with curiosity. Long Li transmitted her voice to them both. The great demon in the 6th divine mountain is no longer like those in the first 5 divine mountains, which are from the eastern edge of the cosmic sea. The great demon of the 6th divine mountain is named Qi Yuan Great Demon, and according to the description of the 6th divine mountain, it originates from a kind of great demon in the eastern Zhongmi Sea of the cosmic sea. Eastern Zhongmi Sea, another region of the cosmic sea. Just like the eastern edge of the cosmic sea, Yi Chen had never heard of the eastern Zhongmi Sea either. After all, Yi Chen had never entered the cosmic sea. But just from the names Eastern Edge and Eastern Zhongmi Sea, and the various great demons, Yi Chen could feel the vastness and enormity of the cosmic sea, located at the center of countless universes. Someday, my steps will tread into the eastern edge of the cosmic sea and the eastern Zhongmi Sea. Furthermore, I will step into the even more vast regions of the cosmic sea. Just like how I initially ventured from the barbaric wilderness continent into the mountain divine nation from the celestial spirit star, Yi Chen thought in his heart. Now, the top 100 of the 3 realms, follow me into the 3rd layer of the Void God Temple. After the results of the 2nd layer competition were released, Emperor Liao appeared again in the 2nd layer of the Void God Temple, addressing all the winners. Then, the top 100 of the 3 realms were led by Emperor Liao into the 3rd layer of the Void God Temple. Upon entering the 3rd layer, Yi Chen discovered that it was an expanse so immense that the boundaries weren't visible, and besides heaven and earth, this space seemed to contain nothing else. After examining the space of the 3rd layer of the Void God Temple, everyone looked towards Emperor Liao, wanting to hear the rules for advancing from 100 to 10 ranks. Emperor Liao's gaze turned towards the 100 elites of the 3 realms present. He directly spoke. The top 100 are only a step away from the final battle of the entire universe's 3 realms top 10 in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle. The top 10 will qualify to be taken by our ancestral god temple to the primal beginning universe for cultivation. This layer will determine the top 10 of your 3 realms. Therefore, whether you can enter the primal beginning universe, whether you can become the top 10 in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, depends on your performance in this layer of the Void God Temple. The competition rule from 100 to 10 is simple. It's a grand round-robin battle. In this battle, the top 100 of each major realm will face off against each other 2 by 2. Everyone in the same realm will compete once. At that time, ranking will be based on everyone's victories. Ties will be determined by the results of head-to-head matchups. And if multiple people have the same number of wins, a tiebreaker will be conducted. In short here, the top 10 of each major realm will certainly be determined. Everyone within the same realm will also have the opportunity to compete. Emperor Liao's words stirred the minds and spirits of the hundreds present. The grand round-robin battle of the top 100. Everyone in the same realm will confront each other. This means that, in the battle of the God Kings, everyone will face Yichun, and in the battle of the Divine Venerables, everyone will truly face the incomparably powerful Long Li. This kind of confrontation had been eagerly anticipated by everyone for a long time. The earlier competitions were mainly against the arrangements by the ancestral God Temple. Now, the true direct confrontation of combat power between contestants was finally about to begin. Chapter 11:16. Unrivaled. After announcing the rules for the top 100 to 10 matches, Emperor Liao waved his hand in the 3rd layer of the Void God Temple. Boom! 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 In an instant, in the vast open world, 3 enormous groups of combat arenas appeared. Each group of combat arenas had 50 gigantic arenas standing in the void. The massive groups of combat arenas directly covered a large expanse of heavens and earth. At the same time, above each group of combat arenas in the sky, a massive void heaven-light curtain displayed the names of the top 100 of the 3 realms. Emperor Liao pointed at the newly appeared arena groups and said to everyone, "The 50 combat arenas on the left are for the top 100 of the battle of the true gods to fight 2 by 2. The 50 combat arenas in the middle are for the top 100 of the battle of the God Kings to fight 2 by 2. The 50 combat arenas on the right are for the top 100 of the battle of the Divine Venerables to fight 2 by 2. The top 100 circular matches will have a total of 99 rounds, and each contestant will face off against the other 99 in the top 100. In each realm, only after all 50 matchups of each round have concluded will the next round begin, until all 99 rounds are complete. Now, let's start the first round of pairings. Everyone look towards the void heaven light curtain above their combat arena. Swoosh! As Emperor Liao finished speaking, everyone looked towards the void heaven light curtain corresponding to their realm. Within the God King void heaven light curtain, Yichun saw his matchup opponent. Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom's Yichun versus Yuming Divine Country's Yuming Lei. Although Yichun didn't know who Yuming Lei was, it was assumed that Yuming Lei was one of the top God Kings of Yuming Divine Country. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to enter the top 100 of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle's Battle of the God Kings. However, Yichun felt no pressure in this match. After all, Yichun had already defeated Yuming Divine Country's strongest God King, Yuming Shifeng, and Yuming Lei was evidently not as strong as Yuming Shifeng. So Yichun naturally felt no pressure. Moreover, no God King in the arena could bring Yichun any great pressure. Yichun was extremely calm. On the other side, Yuming Lei's expression turned ugly upon seeing Yichun as his first opponent. Although he knew it was impossible to defeat Yichun, encountering such an opponent in the first round was extremely frustrating for Yuming Lei. If Yichun decided to injure me in the first round due to Yuming Shifeng, then the subsequent 98 rounds would be a huge disadvantage for me. Yuming Lei even felt a bit apprehensive. Yichun didn't pay any attention to Yuming Lei's thoughts. After checking his opponent, he immediately scanned for Zhang Yao's name. Yichun noticed that Zhang Yao was up against a God King from the Upper Divine Kingdom's Myriad Fire Divine Nation, But this God King wasn't one of the top few, so Jiang Yao shouldn't have any issues defeating him. Next, Yi Chun looked at Long Li's opponent in the Divine Venerable region. Long Li was an absolute peak presence in the Battle of the Divine Venerables, and although her opponent might be strong, it posed no significant problem for her. After scanning through the matchup list, Yi Chun found that in the first round of the top 100 circular matches, there were few highlight battles. They were mostly strong versus weak matchups. It seemed the Ancestral God Temple had rules for distributing matches, and the most peak genius confrontations were likely scheduled for later. The list has been published. Now, pair by pair, enter your respective combat arenas according to the list order and begin the first round of battles. Emperor Liao's booming voice reverberated within the third layer of the Void God Temple. Whoosh! 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 The moment Emperor Liao finished speaking, the top 100 of the three realms flew up into the void, landing on their combat arenas. Yi Chen in the first arena position of the God King Combat Arena Group. Qian and her opponent were in the second arena position of the God King Combat Arena Group. Moko Yi in the third position. Judging by this ranking order, Yi Chen's performance so far had placed him ahead of Qian and Moko Yi, being allocated the most prominent God King position by the Ancestral God Temple. The first arena was also the most central arena among the God King Combat Arena Group. The second and third arenas flanked the first arena. Initially, seeing Yi Chun allocated to the first arena, Moko Ye's expression turned somewhat unpleasant. As they settled on the arena, seeing Yi Chun standing at the very center of the combat arena, Moko Ye felt even more uncomfortable. Moko Ye knew that in the hearts of the great power holders of the Ancestral God Temple, he had already fallen behind Yi Chun completely. On the other side, Qian was completely indifferent to the arena allocations. She even called out to Yi Chun on the first arena from the second arena. Yi Chun, when we fight, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. Qian's words attracted a lot of attention. Yi Chun looked at Qian, smiled, and nodded. Then I'm looking forward to our battle. The back and forth between Yi Chun and Qian made their first-round opponents quite uncomfortable at the moment. They knew the duel between such level of strong contenders was beyond their ability to intervene. If not for the rules of the top 100 circular matches, they wouldn't have had the chance to battle figures like Yi Chun and Qian. In the next moment, the battles directly erupted on each of the 50 combat arenas of the three realms. Brother Yi Chun, please go easy on me. Yi Chun hadn't yet made a move, and his opponent, Yuming Lei, shyly clasped his hands together and smiled towards Yi Chun. Yi Chun smiled and nodded. He indeed didn't use his full strength, only activated the killing force of his eternal god body, effortlessly defeating Yuming Lei. Yi Chun jumped off the fighting stage. Although Yuming Lei failed, he did not get injured at Yi Chun's hands, and this outcome was acceptable to him. He followed Yi Chun in jumping off the stage, and even went up to Yi Chun to clasp his hands in gratitude for holding back. Before Yi Chun defeated Yuming Lei, Qian had already swiftly defeated her opponent, finishing the first round of competition faster than Yi Chun. In this first round of the top 100 loop battle, the strong and weak were obvious, so the matches ended quickly. It was only the contestants of similar realm who battled fiercely. Yi Chun looked at the void heaven light curtain to see the words "One Victory" appear after his name. As each match ended, the 50 winners of the first round among the top 100 gradually emerged. Unsurprisingly, Jiang Yao and Long Li both won their first matches. When all 50 matches of the top 100 face-offs ended, the first round finally concluded. Then, the pairings on the void heaven light curtain were directly rearranged, and the second round began once again. This time, Yi Chen's opponent was another divine king from an upper divine kingdom. And of course, Yi Chen effortlessly defeated this divine king too. Describing the subsequent situation as clean and tidy was fitting. Yi Chen was constantly assigned to platform number 1. No matter who his opponent was, he would defeat them within a few moves. 20 victories. 35 victories, 58 victories. The number of divine kings Yi Chun defeated grew steadily. Among the top 100 divine kings, there was hardly anyone who could stop Yi Chen's winning streak. Boom! When Yi Chun reached the 95th match, He had already achieved 94 consecutive victories. And his opponent in the 95th match was none other than Zhang Yao. At this point, Zhang Yao held 93 victories with 1 defeat, having lost to Qianqian in an earlier match. Seeing his opponent was Zhang Yao, Yi Chen smiled and directly chose to admit defeat. Yi Chen certainly wouldn't attack Zhang Yao. With absolute confidence in entering the top 10, he didn't need to worry about maintaining a complete winning record. Wow. Zhang Yao didn't expect Yi Chen to concede so decisively either. Seeing Yi Chen jump off the fighting stage, she followed suit, jumping down. But Zhang Yao and Yi Chen knew each other's intentions well, and she had no complaints against Yi Chen. Between the two, the significance had long surpassed the so-called stellar domain genius battle results. Once the 95th round was over, the 96th round formally began. This time Yi Chen's opponent was one of the emerging Dark Horse Divine Kings in previous matches. A goddess king from the Middle Divine Kingdom, Snow Spirit Divine Nation, named Mu Shui. This Mu Shui was indeed extraordinarily strong, displaying even greater prowess in the Great Sun Pitha Divine Sound than Moko Yi. But, no matter how strong Mu Shui was, she was no match for Yi Chen. No matter how extraordinarily beautiful this lady was, she wasn't Zhang Yao, so Yi Chen certainly wouldn't hold back. Yi Chen harnessed the Tai divine power and eternal god body, and directly defeated Mu Shui in the arena. 95 victories, 1 defeat. Yi Chen's wins continued to climb. In the 97th round, Yi Chen's opponent was another Black Horse male divine king from the same Middle Divine Kingdom, Snow Spirit Divine Nation, named Luo Yuan. Yi Chen defeated him again. Naturally, Yi Chen's score became 96 victories with 1 defeat. Then, in the 98th round, Yi Chen faced Moko Yi, who had only lost to Qianqian, and Moko Yi was no match for Yi Chen. This duel was considered a focal match, yet it didn't last long at all, as Yi Chen decisively defeated Moko Yi in a few moves like a thunderbolt. Moko Yi wasn't even remotely Yi Chen's competitor, unable to fend off Yi Chen's attacks. This situation surprised countless divine kings, and even Moko Yi himself hadn't imagined he lagged so far behind Yi Chen. After the 98th round ended, the final round of the top 100 loop battle, the 99th round, finally arrived. This time, Yi Chen's opponent was Qianqian, who had achieved 98 consecutive victories, winning 1 more match than Yi Chen. On platform number 1, Yi Chen versus Qianqian. The truly strongest showdown of the Divine King's battle finally arrived. If Yi Chen won this match, both he and Qianqian would have 98 victories and 1 loss, and Yi Chen would surpass Qianqian in ranking by defeating her. If Qianqian won, she would be the sole participant with 99 consecutive victories, the only one finishing all matches victoriously in the top 100 loop battle.
Chapter 1117 Ye Chen battles Vianyan.
On the first arena, when Yi Chen and Qianqian finally met in the last round of the top 100 cycle battle, Qianqian first looked at the God King's void light screen above. Then she looked at Yi Chen. 98 rounds before, 97 wins and 1 loss. The only loss was because you gave a match to the one you like, Zhang Yao. In that case, Yi Chen, you, like me, have never lost in any of the previous battles. So, how about the final match? Are you going to concede directly? Or do you want to have a good fight with me? Qianqian asked Yi Chen with a smile. Yi Chen looked at the little girl Qianqian in front of him, with 2 ponytails and carrying a snow-white treasured saber larger than herself, and laughed. Although this final round doesn't matter much for either of us. After all, this match is only to determine the top 10, not the final ranking. Our positions in the top 10 are already secure. However, asking me to concede, little girl, you're really overthinking it. I think perhaps you should concede to me instead. Among the God Kings in the arena, Yi Chen would not concede to anyone except Zhang Yao, not even to the cute and obedient-looking little girl Qianqian before him. Upon hearing Yi Chen's words, Qianqian slightly wrinkled her nose and gave a playful snort. Since you're asking to be beaten, I will grant your wish. Instantly, the divine power on Qianqian surged. This little girl was able to achieve 98 consecutive victories. Clearly her combat power is extraordinary, and her observational skills are incredibly amazing, especially since she had been fighting in the second arena next to Yi Chun during the previous battles. She had seen Yi Chen's combat situations very clearly. Qian certainly knows Yi Chen's prowess. Even though she is confident she can defeat Yi Chun, once she truly decided to compete seriously with him, she would not be arrogant at all. She even released the prohibition on the huge snow-white treasured saber on her back. Earlier, even when facing Moko Yi, who is currently ranked third, she hadn't used the snow-white treasured saber. Qian's serious expression also made Yi Chen's mind and spirit become focused. Yi Chen likewise knew the might of the little girl in front of him, and he also wanted to see what her true strength was. On the first arena, this time, the two were truly confronting each other head-on. A great battle was about to erupt. This scene caused several of the God Kings in the competition area to hurriedly finish their battles. This round, the top 100 cycle battle, after 98 rounds, everyone's results were basically confirmed. No matter how this final match ended, it would almost not alter the positions of those already in the top 10. Except for a very few God Kings who still wanted to strive for better results in their last match. Almost all other God Kings jumped off the battle arena before Yi Chun and Qian began their fight, ready to watch the most powerful duel of this battle of the God Kings between the two. Not only the God Kings in the arena. Atop the starry sky waterfall, countless sovereigns from various divine kingdoms and even strong ones from the ancestral God Temple. Almost all fixed their eyes on Yi Chun and Qian. Especially those from the ancestral God Temple, whose relationship with Qian was extremely close. They too wanted to see if the miraculous Yi Chun was truly a match for Qian. Even in countless divine kingdom regions, through the void heaven projection, innumerable citizens of the divine kingdoms were awaiting the outcome of this battle, awaiting the result of the duel between the strongest two of the top 10. Amidst countless expectations, the battle between Yi Chun and Qian finally began. Swoosh! As the divine light shone on both, unexpectedly, it was the little girl Qian who attacked first. Qian had decided to defeat Yi Chun, and was thoroughly prepared for a complete battle. Once the fight started, she wouldn't relax in the slightest. Even attacking was a preemptive strike. Instantly, the divine light surged from Qian's hand, and countless terrifying threads came slicing toward Yi Chun. These innumerable threads seemed like they could cut through everything. Even the star continent seemed unable to block such slicing. When the slicing force enveloping all sides of Yi Chun came killing towards him, Yi Chun felt a shock in his heart. He could sense that just with Qian's first attack, his eternal god body with the 5 great divine patterns could not defend against such slicing. No wonder Qian could defeat Yuming Shifang's falling godstone formation in one move when challenging Yuming Shifang at the Mish Lotus platform in the previous preparation area. She truly possessed such terrifying attack methods. However, although Qian's methods were indeed frightening, Yi Chun was not Yuming Shifang. Even if the defense methods of the eternal god body with the 5 great divine patterns couldn't withstand such slicing power, Yi Chun had other means to counter it. Bang! Instantly, infinite divine light radiated from Yi Chen's body, as all the starry origin power from the Tai chapter infused into Yi Chun, along with enhancing the defense means of the eternal god body, and even Yi Chun drove out the heavenly forbidden flame. The divine light of the 3 major means converged on Yi Chun. At this moment, Yi Chun seemed like a divine mansion. Boom! Yi Chun seemed like a giant and supremely sharp sword, directly confronting the unparalleled slicing force. Boom! 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 Terrifying explosions echoed throughout the battle arena. This was the direct clash of divine power between Yi Chun and Qian. In the endless collision, Yi Chen's 3 major techniques were unleashed, annihilating all of Qian's divine power light spells. He even seemed to be able to punch through the stars, directly striking at Qian. Perfect timing! Qian had long anticipated Yi Chen's ability to block her killing move, and seeing the surging killing force from his 3 major techniques, her eyes gleamed brightly. Swish! In an instant, the snow-white treasured saber behind Qian flew forth, arriving right in front of her. This snow-white treasured saber expanded instantly to an enormous size, almost as if the entire battle arena space was about to be torn apart by it. Yi Chen's star-shattering punch landed directly on the blade, which astonishingly stood firm without a hint of tremor. Then, Qianqian herself shot onto the snow-white treasured saber, sitting cross-legged within the blade, forming a massive blade formation that completely enveloped Yi Chun. The blade formation enveloped everything, spinning rapidly as if it intended to completely grind Yi Chun to pieces within.
Everlasting Snowlight Blade Formation.
Qianqian actually mastered this swordsmanship. Despite earlier climbing 7 divine mountains, she never fully exerted this combat power. Now, in her ultimate showdown with Yi Chun, she finally used this swordsmanship. Seeing Qianqian's sword formation kill move, numerous great power holders from the ancestral god temple stood up in shock. They knew that once Qianqian released this swordsmanship, if Yi Chun were to be overconfident, he would be trapped in an increasingly dreadful killing formation. Ultimately, when the killing force of the formation reached its peak, even if Yi Chun employed his strongest combat power enough to reach the 7th layer of the 5th divine mountain, he might not manage to break through the blade formation. The shocked exclamations of the great power holders from the ancestral god temple were unbeknownst to Yi Chun. Yi Chun was equally unaware of the insane increase in killing power from the little girl Qianqian's blade formation before him. Yet an inexplicable sense of caution told Yi Chun that he must quickly break the blade formation surrounding him. Boom! Yi Chun certainly wouldn't let himself fall victim, nor would he completely succumb to the opponent's killing move. At the instant Qianqian activated the blade formation, Yi Chun unleashed another vast technique. All 27 combat power means of the great Sun Pitha divine sound. Boom! 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 With the added unparalleled combat power, Yi Chun became even more terrifying than before, turning into a frenzied sword light that wildly attacked the blade formation enveloping him. Blade formation against sword light. Qianqian against Yi Chun. The combat power of both was a world-shattering battle that reverberated even beyond the battle space, causing other divine kings to be extremely alarmed. Below the array of battle platforms stood Moko Yi, who had finished his own battles and was watching Yi Chun and Qianqian fight. He finally realized why Yi Chun could reach the 7th layer of the 5th divine mountain, while he could not. The combat power Yi Chun released now was far beyond anything Moko Yi could contend with. In their previous battle, Yi Chun didn't even need to use such powerful techniques to defeat him. Moko Yi was more astonished as he realized Qianqian's true prowess. Earlier when Qianqian defeated him, she didn't use such terrifying techniques, and even before their battle, he thought he could surpass her. After all, in the previous climb over 7 divine mountains, his results were better than Qianqian's. Now, Moko Yi understood that Qianqian had been holding back the whole time, not even using her full strength when defeating him. Only Yi Chun could make Qianqian take things seriously. Not only Qianqian, but the other divine kings witnessing the scene were equally shocked to the core. They hadn't expected a battle of the god kings to reach this level of combat power. It was practically like a battle between 2 upper-level sovereigns. The stellar domain genius battle, in an epic cosmic showdown, gave these divine kings from everywhere, even those from upper divine kingdoms, countless memories to truly understand there's always someone beyond man and heaven beyond heaven, above void heaven. In the midst of countless people's shock, Yi Chun and Qianqian's battle continued with earth-shattering tremors, lasting hundreds of moves. Before Qianqian's blade formation could completely suppress Yi Chun, his 4 major techniques unleashed already broke through the formation's gap, escaping from it. Without suppression from the blade formation, Yi Chun's battle with the saber-wielding Qianqian reached a crescendo. At this point, realizing the everlasting snow-light blade formation alone wouldn't suffice to suppress Yi Chun, the little girl instantaneously formed a spell with her hand as she descended from the blade. The massive treasured saber transformed into a streak of light and merged into her body. Simultaneously, amidst the pervasive divine light, Qianqian astoundingly seemed to mature from a little girl, transforming rapidly into a lithe young maiden. As her long hair flew, a mysterious divine pattern emerged between her eyebrows. Chapter 11:18, Top 10. This mysterious divine patterns, as if stars were burning, an unparalleled divine light was swirling around. Almost at the moment when these divine patterns appeared on Chanqian's forehead, two brilliantly extreme divine chains appeared directly in her hands. Whoosh! With a flick of Chanqian's hand, the two divine chains in her hand flew out directly. In an instant, the two divine chains split into four into 8, instantly transforming into countless divine chains. These divine chains shook the 4 directions, locking the firmament, as if they could seal everything. Stars' divine chains. When the divine chains in Chanqian's hand appeared, the great powers in the ancestral god temple were extremely astonished. Such a young Chanqian, yet she has already cultivated the stars' divine chains to such a degree. Eyebrow Granny, following the orders of Lone Origin Star Lord, has been taking care of Chanqian. It seems Eyebrow Granny has really put in a lot of effort over the years. The Stars Divine Chains is one of Lone Origin Star Lord's life divine methods, a Star Lord level divine method. Without a strong inheritance and enough powerful combat power means, Yi Chun is unlikely to withstand it. Just as the great powers of the ancestral god temple were utterly shocked by Chanqian's new means, the myriad divine chains she wielded were already all wrapping towards Yi Chun. Even before these divine chains touched Yi Chun, he already felt that with the means he was driving now, he absolutely couldn't withstand them. These divine chains, whose origin is unknown, felt even more terrifying than the Falling God Stone obtained by Yuming Shifeng, and the Falling God Stone is a defensive item, whereas these divine chains are clearly terrifyingly aggressive. In an instant, Yi Chun was already contemplating whether to use his most powerful means, the Origin Star Aperture power of the Taiyu chapter from the Primordial Star Scripture. In the moment when Yi Chen's mind and spirit were turning quickly, the divine chains driven by Chanqian came rolling towards Yi Chen faster and more terrifying than he expected. With a speed that no one anticipated, they directly bound Yi Chen completely. Furthermore, the endless divine light on the divine chains fluctuated, tightening the restraints on Yi Chen's power more and more, as if the next moment would completely see Yi Chen leashed and killed on the spot. Yi Chen, once my star's divine chains are deployed, at the God King level, they are already irresistible. Admit defeat. On the stage, in the void, Chanqian, transformed into a graceful girl, with her long hair flying, looked at Yi Chen and spoke with a smile. Seeing Chanqian's means, which had bound the mighty and unparalleled Yi Chen, countless god kings below were utterly incredulous. These god kings didn't expect that the young Chanqian would possess such terrifying means. In the eyes of these god kings, Yi Chen, who seemed unbeatable, had difficulty resisting such an attack. These god kings further felt that if it were them instead, they might not even be able to block it, and at the moment Chanqian Star's divine chains appeared, they would likely be so daunted by its divine might that they would prostrate on the ground. Defeated. It seems Yi Chen is going to lose too. In the grand cycle Battle of the God Kings Top 100, the strongest is Chanqian. This thought flashed through countless minds. In the crowd, Zhang Yao saw Yi Chen, bound by countless divine chains. Yet she knew Yi Chen still had an even stronger means he hadn't used. Yi Chen, are you going to use that move? Just as this thought crossed Zhang Yao's mind, everyone saw that Yi Chen, originally bound by the countless stars' divine chains, began to emit circles of divine light. Within this divine light, there was a type of divine power that none could understand, as if there was an unexplainable spatial power within it. As the divine power flickered, the chains binding Yi Chen began to be continuously expanded and even swallowed up. This is. The countless god kings below looked at the divine light on Yi Chen's body, completely dumbfounded. And Zhang Yao, upon seeing this strange divine light appear on Yi Chen, was extremely excited on her delicate little face. Zhang Yao knew this was the latest cultivation means Yi Chen had told her about, something she hadn't seen yet, the Origin Star Aperture means. Zhang Yao wasn't mistaken. At this moment, facing the attack of Chanqian Star's divine chains, Yi Chen finally brought out the Origin Star Aperture means. The Origin Star Aperture is a powerful method cultivated in the Taiyu chapter of the 6th chapter of the Primordial Star Scripture. Even though Yi Chen was just beginning to cultivate the Taiyu chapter, just starting to sense the space star apertures of countless earthly realms, and beginning to imprint origin star apertures within himself. Even though Yi Chen had just cultivated the origin star aperture to halfway through the first extreme, far from reaching the 8th extreme level required by the Taiyu chapter. However, the Taiyu chapter is a cultivation technique from the 6th chapter of the primordial star scripture, a major stage that even Yi Chen's senior sister Qing Lan Star Lord hadn't successfully cultivated. When cultivated to the 8th extreme, it can even destroy masters and cosmic emperors. Such a level of power, even at the first extreme, has already completely surpassed the means driven by the God Kings. Even though Qianqian's Star's Divine Chains is also a Star Lord level divine method, it is completely insufficient in the face of the Taiyu chapter. Boom! At the moment Yi Chen unleashed the origin star aperture power, the divine power surging through the circles of divine light spreading outside Yi Chen's body made the chains binding Yi Chen come to a complete standstill, releasing Yi Chen from the power constraint of the chains. And as Yi Chen fully activated the origin star aperture power, the endless space-devouring divine power was capable of engulfing everything, even bit by bit swallowing the star's divine chains that bound Yi Chen outside his body. In the end, all the divine chains that restrained Yi Chen were completely consumed into nothingness. This process seems long, but it actually happened in an instant. At the next moment, Yi Chen completely broke free from the star's divine chains, moving through the endless divine light into the void. When he faced Qianqian again, Qianqian was dumbfounded. Qianqian didn't expect that even her strongest star's divine chains divine method couldn't bind Yi Chen. Qianqian further realized that Yi Chen's method seemed more powerful than the divine method she cultivated. Little girl, do you have any other means? If not, you will be defeated. As Qianqian was stunned, Yi Chen, surging with endless origin star aperture power, pointed his finger at Qianqian in the void. This finger condensed unparalleled killing force, as if in the next moment, if Qianqian did not concede, this killing force would directly eliminate her. Looking at Yi Chen, who seemed more terrifying in an instant, Qianqian finally understood that this God King in front of her was indeed the most powerful God King she had ever seen. He was even more terrifying than countless sovereigns and divine masters in potential. Even with her Star Lord means, she was no match for him. All right, Yi Chen, I admit you are stronger than me. But it's still early. I will definitely defeat you in the future. Eventually, Qianqian finally conceded, jumping off the battle arena. After Qianqian conceded, Yi Chen's battle record on the void light screen changed to 98 wins and 1 loss, the same record as Qianqian. And because Yi Chen defeated Qianqian with the same record, he directly reached the first position in the top 100 cycle battle. He ranked at the very top among all God Kings. Even though this round only decided the top 10 and not the final top 10 rank, regardless, Yi Chen proved his absolute first position in this round. At this moment, countless God Kings looked at Yi Chen in a daze. They were completely shocked speechless by the means of Yi Chen and Qianqian. They didn't expect that Qianqian's means were already terrifying to the extreme, and Yi Chen's hidden means were even more terrifying. At this time, more shocked than these God Kings were the great power holders of the ancestral God Temple. The divine masters, and cosmic emperors of the ancestral God Temple could hardly believe that even though Qianqian used the star's divine chains divine method, she was still defeated by Yi Chen. Yi Chen's means seemed even more mysterious than the divine method of the lone origin Star Lord. A cosmic emperor exclaimed with shock, I have long suspected that Yi Chen has an extraordinary background, possibly backed by a Star Lord. Unexpectedly, he truly has the Star Lord level inheritance. And the Star Lord who passed the inheritance to him is probably even more terrifying than the lone origin Star Lord. The words of this cosmic emperor made the hearts of other great power holders tremble even more. The lone origin Star Lord can be said to be the second strongest after Star Master Yuan Wu in the ancestral God Temple, already a figure powerful to the extreme among Star Lords. Now, Yi Chen unexpectedly received a more terrifying Star Lord's inheritance than the lone origin Star Lord. How could the people of the ancestral God Temple not be shocked and fearful? They dared not ask Yi Chen about the root cause. Involving the Star Lord level inheritance, They all know that such inheritance has Star Lord-level secrets within, utterly unattainable for cultivation and cannot be wantonly spied upon. Otherwise, if it angers the Star Lord, it would definitely bring a catastrophic disaster. Ultimately, the great power holders of the ancestral God Temple could only discuss not probing into anything about Yi Chun. Yi Chun is the genius of this universe. The stronger the figure backing him, the better it is for this universe and the ancestral God Temple. They have no need to explore too much. There, in the primal beginning universe, the top 10 will go. In the God King realm, there's Chanqian, there's Yi Chun. In the divine venerable realm, there's Long Li, there's Long Ning. This time, our ancestral God Temple is likely to astonish all the other major forces across the cosmic sea. The great power holders of the ancestral God Temple thought to themselves. Void God Temple, third layer. With the end of the confrontation between Yi Chun and Chanqian, the top 100 cycle battle of the God Kings has also fully ended, and the top 10 of the Battle of the God Kings finally emerged. Soon after, the top 10 of the Battle of the Divine Venerables all emerged as well. The top 10 of the Battle of the True Gods were even decided earlier than the two major realms of God King and Divine Venerable. When all the top 10 were decided, Emperor Liao appeared once again within the third layer of the Void God Temple. Emperor Liao first deeply glanced at Yi Chun and Long Li and others. In the previous battles, Emperor Liao sensed an absolute genius potential in them, a potential that even someone at the Cosmic Emperor pinnacle level like him could hardly ignore. Then, Emperor Liao's gaze turned to others, looking at the 100 contestants across the three major realms present on the field. Finally, he spoke. All of you who have reached the top 100 are already absolutely outstanding. After all, you have emerged as the top 100 amidst countless talents from countless divine kingdoms across this universe. And the top 10 among you are even more remarkable, having earned the qualification to be led by the ancestral God Temple to the primal beginning universe. Next, I will announce the rules of the top 10 ranking battle. Even though all top 10 can go to the primal beginning universe, as I said before, the ranking of the top 10 will involve different rewards from the ancestral God Temple for you. Therefore, you must strive for the top 10 ranking battle. At this point, Emperor Liao paused. You may have doubts. Each of you has already fought in this top 100 cycle battle, and the combat power levels are already clear. Why should there be a special top 10 ranking battle to rearrange the ranking? I tell you, that's because the top 10 ranking battle will be completely different. Each of you still has the opportunity to surpass others and rewrite the ranking anew. Chapter 11:19 Zhuoshan Yu. Emperor Liao's words stirred the mind and spirit of everyone present. The contestants who did not enter the top 10 were eager to know how the subsequent ranking battle for the top 10 would proceed. Those who made it into the top 10 were curious about the opportunity Emperor Liao mentioned to potentially rewrite rankings. In the current top 10, in battles like the Battle of the God Kings, everyone knew Yi Chun was the strongest, but talents like Moko Yi still harbored ambitions to surpass Yi Chun. Now that Emperor Liao mentioned such an opportunity, they were certainly unwilling to let it pass. Emperor Liao looked at everyone present and continued, the top 10 contestants from the three realms will soon follow me to the fourth layer of the Void God Temple. Since you are already in the top 10, you already qualify to go to the primal beginning universe, and you no longer need to be bound by your current realms. You are now to start preparing for going to the primal beginning universe. The first step in the top 10 ranking battle is to give each of you a chance to break through to the next realm. In the fourth layer of the Void God Temple, the Ancestral God Temple has provided each of you with divine objects to break through to a new realm, as well as cultivation techniques for practicing in the new realm. I know many of you have suppressed your realms at the True God, God King, and Divine Venerable levels to participate in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, the Battle of the True Gods, the Battle of the God Kings, and the Battle of the Divine Venerables and haven't broken through. Now, in the next 10 ranking battle, you can finally break through with ease. Once you break through, your combat power will see a new enhancement. With the Cultivation Divine Arts we have prepared for you, it's easy for your rankings to change. How far you can break through and how much you can enhance your combat power depends on the results of your cultivation in the fourth layer of the Void God Temple. Buzz. Emperor Liao's words surprised both the top 10 contestants and the eliminated contestants among the top 100 immensely. Even Yi Chun could not have imagined that the first step in the top 10 ranking battle would be arranged like this. The fourth layer of the Void God Temple, breaking through to a new realm. This directly means that Yi Chun can start making a breakthrough towards the divine venerable realm. Indeed, as Emperor Liao said, many people, for the sake of participating in the 3 major battles of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, had suppressed their realms without breaking through. Like Yi Chun, he could already break through from the God King to the Divine Venerable Realm in the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, but in order to participate in the Star Domain Genius Battle God King battle, he stayed in the God King realm. Now, after the start of this top 10 ranking battle, he can further challenge his realm. Yi Chun was already fully prepared to make a breakthrough. Breaking through to become an Earth Divine Venerable would be no difficulty at all, and he might even reach the Heavenly Divine Venerable or Immortal Divine Venerable. Not just Yi Chun. Like Jiang Yao and Moko Yi, aren't they all at the peak of the Upper God King level right now? As long as they can break through, their next step will inevitably be becoming Divine Venerables. Contestants like Goddess Long Li from the Divine Venerable Battle could very well become truly sovereign-level individuals upon breakthrough. As for the significant change in combat power post-breakthrough as stated by Emperor Liao, this will evidently happen. Many of Yi Chun's methods, like the Eternal God Body and Heavenly Forbidden Flame, can currently only exert partial divine might due to low realm restrictions. Once Yi Chun breaks through to the Divine Venerable Realm, just the enhancement in combat power from these 2 major methods will be substantial, not to mention the breakthrough in combat power brought by realm elevation. Moreover, if any top 10 contestants break through to the Earth Divine Venerable, others to the Heavenly Divine Venerable, and others to the Immortal Divine Venerable, coupled with varying progress in cultivating the divine arts placed in the 4th layer of the Void God Temple by the Ancestral God Temple, obviously, the subsequent rankings are highly likely to undergo a dramatic transformation compared to the top 100 large circuit battles. This possibility directly fills many of the top 10 contestants with immense joy in their hearts. The arrangement by the Ancestral God Temple is extremely fitting. We have already become the top 10, already qualified to be taken by the Ancestral God Temple to the Primal Beginning Universe. It's indeed time to prepare for the Primal Beginning Universe, without sticking to our current realms. Once we break through, the increase in combat power will indeed be tremendous. These contestants clearly understood, even if their final ranking in the top 10 didn't improve, securely breaking through to the next major realm with the divine objects prepared by the Ancestral God Temple is an immense gain. As these contestants were filled with delight, Emperor Liao directly instructed the top 10 contestants. Let's go. The top 10 of the 3 realms, follow me into the 4th layer of the Void God Temple. Once there, I will further explain the specific breakthrough arrangements to you. With Emperor Liao's voice, Yi Chun, Jiang Yao, Long Li, Chanqian, Moko Yi, and others walked over to Emperor Liao's side. Then, with a wave of Emperor Liao's hand, amidst the flickering of divine light, he took the top 10 contestants of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, the Battle of the True Gods, the Battle of the God Kings, and the Battle of the Divine Venerables into the 4th layer of the Void God Temple. Meanwhile, those who were eliminated in the competition from the top 100 to the top 10 were transported to the gathering area of the eliminated contestants, eyes full of envy fixed on Yi Chun and the others' departing figures. They knew that, with this separation, they were as far apart as the ends of the earth. From the moment the top 10 can further break through. From the moment the top 10 can be taken by the Ancestral God Temple to the Primal Beginning Universe. The gap between them and the top 10 would only continue to widen. Fearing there would be no possibility of interaction in the future. In the true genius selection, they fell behind. Inside the 4th layer of the Void Temple. Upon entering this 4th layer of space, Yi Chun immediately saw that within this space stood countless divine mountains, and above the higher void on the divine mountain peaks, the scene of the starry waterfall outside could faintly be seen. It seemed as if countless divine stars continuously streaked across the void above the divine mountains in the 4th level of the Void Temple. This 4th layer of space was incredibly mysterious, as if it contained countless opportunities. Lord Emperor Liao, who brought the top 10 to the 4th layer of space, swept his gaze over everyone before first looking at the top 10 of the True God Battle. In the previous competitions, you were all competitors to one another. Even in the upcoming battle to rank the top 10, you still have to compete against each other to determine the final rankings. But in the future, you will all journey to the primal beginning universe together, and you will all become companions. Therefore, now you all need to get to know each other. Emperor Liao began calling names one by one. Zuoshanyu ranked first in the True God battle of the Grand Circulation War of the Top 100, always maintaining the first place in the Stellar Domain Genius True God battle during the previous rounds of competition, the first to reach the endpoint among the countless vines, receiving all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Patuo Divine Sound during the Aurora Flush, completing the cultivation of the first 11 volumes at that time, and also the first True God to enter the Starry Waterfall from the Leap God Gate. Zuoshanyu from the ordinary mid-level Divine Kingdom, the Mystic Stream Divine Kingdom. You are the strongest genius we have discovered in this True God battle from our ancestral God Temple. At the front, in the battles of the True Gods, the Divine Kings, and the Divine Sovereigns, many of the fights happen simultaneously, and talents in each realm only focus on the competition in their realm, paying little attention to other realms, only slightly noting them. Now, hearing that Emperor Liao is going to introduce the top 10 figures in the 3 realms, many people look towards Zuoshanyu upon hearing the introduction of such an extraordinary True God. Zuoshanyu was an exceptionally delicate-looking young man, appearing to be the youngest on the field, even seeming somewhat reticent. Yet, even the Divine Kings and Divine Sovereigns present dared not underestimate this supreme genius ranked first in the True God battle. Just kidding. Being able to receive all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Patuo Divine Sound during the Aurora Flush is an achievement that only the most dazzling heavens chosen like Yichun and Long Li could attain, and Zuoshanyu also achieved it. This, of course, made the Divine Kings and Divine Sovereigns remember this True God youth deeply. Even Yichun took a good look at this young man. Yichun knew that the young man in front of him, who could achieve such astounding accomplishments in the Stellar Domain Genius battle, likely had great fortune upon him. Seeing the top 10 from the 3 realms all looking at him, Zuoshanyu was somewhat shy, with a hint of a blush on his face. In the end, under Emperor Liao's request for an introduction, he spoke, saying, "I am a long way from Yichun, the most talented in the battle of the God Kings, and from Goddess Long Li, the strongest in the Divine Sovereign battle. After we head to the primal beginning universe, please take care of me." Zuoshanyu, although incredibly talented, was exceedingly humble. After introducing Zuoshanyu, Emperor Liao began to introduce the remaining 9 participants in the True God battle. Mokchun, True God of the Mok Divine Country, originally ranked first on the Star Domain True God ranking. Although he lagged behind Zuoshanyu in the competition later on, he still firmly held onto the second ranking. The Mok Divine Country, worthy of being the highest-ranked divine kingdom in this universe, also had incredibly talented individuals in the True God realm. Even though they didn't take first place, holding second place was certainly extraordinary. Yuming Jueju, True God of the Yuming Divine Country, ranked third in the True God battle of the Grand Circulation War of the Top 100. Long Chu, Dragon Xian Divine Kingdom, ranked fourth in the True God battle of the Grand Circulation War of the Top 100. After introducing the top 10 True God contestants, Emperor Liao then began to introduce the top 10 in the Battle of the God Kings. The first one to be introduced was, of course, Yichun. Yichun, God King of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation, an outstanding heavens chosen in the Battle of the God Kings. Among the countless vines, he climbed numerous star vines, absorbed the most from the star vine divine light. During the Aurora Flush, he acquired the largest portion of all 36 volumes of the Great Sun Patuo Divine Sound and cultivated to the 12th volume in a very short time. In the Leap God Gate, he was also the first God King to enter the Starry Waterfall. Within the Void Temple, whether it was advancing from 10,000 to 1,000 against the ancient Tuo, advancing from 1,000 to 100 through the 7 divine mountains, or during the Grand Circulation War where everyone fought in pairs, the performance of Yichun far exceeded our expectations at the ancestral God Temple. Yichun can be said to be the most treasured genius discovered by our ancestral God Temple this time. When it came to Yichun, Emperor Liao's voice became much more excited. Yichun's notoriety was, of course, higher than that of Zuoshanyu, the top in the True God battle. On one hand, he was a participant in the battle of the God Kings with a higher realm, and on the other hand, the strongest divine sovereign, Long Li, was Yi Chen's woman, naturally causing numerous divine sovereigns to pay extremely close attention to him, and from the start, in the preparation area, when Yi Chen swept through Yuming Shifang like a thunderbolt, countless people were already deeply impressed by him. Yi Chen's combat performance earlier had also drawn a lot of attention from countless people. Now, hearing Emperor Liao mention Yi Chen's competition achievements, recalling them, the top 10 present still found it incredibly unbelievable. Chapter 11:20. The Leap of Life. Emperor Liao recounted Yi Chen's achievements in the Stellar Domain Genius battle. Standing between the two divine maidens, Zhang Yao and Long Li, Yi Chen attracted the attention of everyone present. All the participants knew that in this grand final of the Stellar Domain Genius battle across the universe, Yi Chen was arguably the most potential-laden genius. He not only captured the attention of countless citizens of numerous divine kingdoms in this universe, but also garnered the interest of the Cosmic Sea's major force, the Ancestral God Temple. In the future, he is likely to establish a resounding reputation in the Cosmic Sea. After introducing Yi Chen, the first-place winner of the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Emperor Liao began to introduce other individuals. Second place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, Long Xian Divine Kingdom, Chanxian. Third place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Mok Divine Country Moko Yi. Fourth place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, 10,000 Beasts Domain, Zhang Yao. Fifth place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Snow Spirit Divine Nation, Luo Yuan. Sixth place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Snow Spirit Divine Nation, Mu Shui. Seventh place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Tian Yu Divine Kingdom, Yu Ling Ruru. Eighth place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Mok Divine Country, Mok Wang. Ninth place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Long Xian Divine Kingdom, Dragon Abyss. 10th place in the Battle of the Top 100 War God Kings, Black Pole Divine Kingdom, Zhou Shan. The top 10 of the Battle of the God Kings saw many surprises. The first surprise was Moko Yi, ranked first on the Star Domain God King ranking, being surpassed by both Yi Chen and Chanxian, placing third. The second surprise was the emergence of three unexpected contenders, Zhang Yao, Luo Yuan, and Mu Shui, who originally did not even enter the Star Domain God King ranking. The third surprise was Yu Ling Ruru, originally ranked third on the Star Domain God King ranking. This Yu Ling Ruru, Yi Chen noticed, was an extremely beautiful woman dressed in white, looking extraordinarily delicate. Originally on the Star Domain God King ranking, it was said by Stone Ridge Palace, which compiled the three major rankings, that a 9-star sovereign from Stone Ridge Palace witnessed Yu Ling Ruru's combat power firsthand and said that her combat power was not much weaker than Moko Ye's, and could even be stronger. But no one knew whether she was conserving her strength for the Battle of the Top 100. Although she successfully entered the top 10, she did not shine as brightly as Yi Chen, Chanxian, or Zhang Yao, not even compared to Luo Yuan and Mu Shui from the Snow Spirit Divine Nation. Of course, managing to enter the top 10 certainly proved Yu Ling Ruru's strength. Someone like Yuming Shifang, originally ranked fourth on the Star Domain God King ranking, didn't even make it into the top 10 of the Battle of the God Kings this time, astonishing many. After the introduction of the top 10 in the Battle of the God Kings, the time finally came for the introduction of the top 10 in the highest level competition of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, the Divine Venerable Battle. The Divine Venerable Battle is the highest level combat in the grand final of the Stellar Domain Genius Battle across the universe. The Divine Venerables participating in the Divine Venerable Battle, here in the fourth level of the Void God Temple, are about to launch an assault towards the sovereign realm, becoming a sovereign. It is about to happen. Later, heading to the primal beginning universe, the top 10 of the Divine Venerable Battle will also become the highest level combat power group, representing our ancestral God Temple at the forefront. Before introducing the top 10 in the Divine Venerable Battle, Emperor Liao specially elaborated on the Divine Venerable Battle, showing his attention to the top 10 Divine Venerables.
Yi Chen noted.
Emperor Liao was right. The top 10 divine venerables were indeed the strongest batch of geniuses present. Even though, in terms of innate potential, Yi Chen was not inferior to them, possibly even stronger. However, Yi Chen's realm was still much lower than theirs, and his actual combat power couldn't match these divine venerables. Even if later Yi Chen breaks through to the divine venerable, these people are very likely to break through to the sovereign, still being one major realm apart. The three top 10 of the primal beginning universe venturing out together indeed represent these 10 divine venerables. When the true gods and the top 10 god kings all looked to the divine venerables, Emperor Liao also began to introduce the top 10 divine venerables. First place in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle 100 Top Circulation Battle Divine Venerable Battle, Wanmu Mountain Divine Capital, Long Li. The first name caused many to gasp deeply. Long Li, younger than Yi Chen, but already at the pinnacle level of an immortal divine venerable, she demonstrated absolute combat power in the divine venerable battle, from the first round all the way to the final 100 top circulation battle. She surpassed all divine venerables, even though Long Ning, ranked second, who was originally number 1 on the Star Domain Divine Venerable list, was far from her match. Long Li possessed combat prowess beyond everyone's imagination. No one could force out Long Li's limits. Even the great power holders of the ancestral god temple recognized that Long Li's potential was in no way inferior to Yi Chen's, and perhaps her background was equally impressive. Along with Long Li's relationship with Yi Chen and the equally extraordinary Zhang Yao, this made the ancestral god temple pay utmost attention to the three of them. There was little introduction for Long Li. The ancestral god temple knew very little about Long Li. However, everyone knew that among the 30 individuals across the three major realm top 10s present, Long Li was definitely the strongest. Even though Long Li had not yet broken through to the sovereign realm, no 9-star sovereign dared to underestimate her. Second place in the 100 top circulation battle divine venerable battle, Long Xian Divine Kingdom, Long Ning. The third place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Mok Divine Country, Mok Wushang. The fourth place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Mok Divine Country, Mok Wuliang. The fifth place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Long Xian Divine Kingdom, Long Cheng. The sixth place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Yuming Divine Country, Yuming Ji Xian. The seventh place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Yuming Divine Country, Yuming Dao Ju. The eighth place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Black Pole Divine Kingdom, Mu Xiao. The ninth place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Gold Absolute Divine Country, Dong Lingcan. The 10th place in the top 100 recycle war divine venerable battle, Black Pole Divine Kingdom, Lian Yu. The Battle of the Divine Venerable is the highest level duel in the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, with the top 10 spots almost entirely occupied by the strongest divine kingdoms of this universe, unlike the rapidly changing top 10 of the True God and God King ranks. This also demonstrates the terrifying high-end combat power of these strongest divine kingdoms. Once the top 10 in the True God, God King, and Divine Venerable realms were introduced, the 30 people present all became acquaintances. At this time, Emperor Liao finally began to explain in detail the arrangements for the first step of the top 10 ranking battle, which is to break through one's realm. You are the top 10 in the 3 realms, 30 people in total, the strongest batch of geniuses in this universe, and the hope of our ancestral God Temple and countless divine kingdoms. Soon, you will be brought into the primal beginning universe. There, you will engage with geniuses from other universes and fight for the chaotic opportunities of the primal beginning universe. At the same time, the primal beginning universe is extremely dangerous, and even a slight negligence could lead to your demise within it. Therefore, before you head to the primal beginning universe, you must enhance your combat power and realm as much as possible. This is also the reason why, in the first step of the top 10 ranking battle, the Ancestral God Temple has specifically arranged for you to break through your realms. Emperor Liao's words directly stirred the minds and spirits of Yi Chen and other geniuses. The final showdown of the Stellar Domain Genius battle across the universe was not yet over, and the expedition to the primal beginning universe was imminent. The primal beginning universe. The announcement of the shocking rewards for the stellar domain genius battle initially drew attention and inquiries from countless people. Even Yi Chun knew a lot about the primal beginning universe. The primal beginning universe is the most unique of the countless universes surrounding the cosmic sea. It is rumored that the primal beginning universe is even the origin of countless universes, with a significant connection to the formation of the cosmic sea. The primal beginning universe is a mysterious terrain that countless power holders wish to enter, rumored to be a chaotic land full of hidden wonders. No divine kingdom exists within, and even many sovereigns of the cosmic divine kingdom have been unable to explore it. Even strong figures from the cosmic sea, it is said, have never completely ventured through the primal beginning universe. This kind of mysterious place ought to be an incredibly distant existence for low-realm geniuses like Yi Chun, something they never imagined encountering so soon. Now, the ancestral god temple has a way to take them to the primal beginning universe, naturally causing both anticipation and nervousness among Yi Chun and others. Emperor Liao now states that not only will Yi Chun and the top 10 from this universe go to the primal beginning universe, but geniuses from other universes will also head there. This clearly indicates the possibility of a major event occurring in the primal beginning universe. That is why the great forces of the cosmic sea are bringing the geniuses of every universe. A major event means opportunity but also means danger. Emperor Liao is right. It is indeed essential to enhance combat power as much as possible before heading to the primal beginning universe. As Yi Chun and others' minds and spirits are shaken, Emperor Liao continues, regarding matters of the primal beginning universe, the ancestral god temple will explain them to you in detail once you are on your way there. For now, your focus is to break through realms here, elevating your realm and combat power to a new pinnacle. Here, on the 4th level of the Void God Temple, the ancestral god temple has prepared countless divine mountains for you to train on. Each divine mountain holds divine pills and divine medicine to overcome realm barriers, and a divine pool for practice, with every mountain containing strange items capable of invoking a divine tribulation. You are immensely potential-filled geniuses, and each of your realm advancements is a great leap in life. Life's leap requires numerous things. The external aids have been prepared for you by the ancestral god temple, but the most crucial things are your internal preparations. Only by solidifying every realm to its utmost can you invoke a divine tribulation, surpass it, and break through to the next realm. I hope in this place, each of you can achieve a great leap in life. Come, everyone, follow me. I will show you the divine pills, divine medicine, and divine pools for breakthroughs, as well as the divine arts prepared for you by the ancestral god temple after your breakthroughs. Emperor Liao directly led the crowd into one of the numerous divine mountains on the 4th level of the Void God Temple. Upon entering the mountain, Yi Chun and other geniuses saw a vast, empty hall filled with various divine objects they had never seen before. In one corner of the hall, there was an incredibly dense divine pool, and cultivating in this pool would evidently yield better results than the prior Mish Lotus platform in the preparation area. Elsewhere in the hall, there was a massive bookshelf, filled with various divine arts, each with a divine might that shook the heart as Emperor Liao introduced them one by one. Finally, at the top of the divine mountain, there was a designated training breakthrough platform, intricately carved with countless mysterious runes, extraordinary and unmatched. Here, one can invoke a divine tribulation. Here, the geniuses will achieve their true leap in life.